The icon gets smaller. I swear to God, it's so hard to click it. I click 4 times and it doesn't unmute. Sorry. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 25th edition of the Momentum Mod Q&A. Lovely, lovely month of April. My name is Nick, aka... Yeah, right? It's a lovely day. Lovely Saturday. We're back into the regular schedule of being in the month that it's actually for, so that's good. We're back we're back to that. But yeah, my name is Nick, aka Goknak. I am the project and development lead of Momentum Mod, here to answer some of your beautiful questions that you ask us over in our Discord. I'm joined with some of my wonderful teammates. We'll just go down the list here. You guys can introduce yourselves and we'll get going.
Well, seems like I am on the screen, so I'll just mention I'm Zofa. I'm the production designer. I'm helping out with a slew of different things when it comes to the campaign, and I am here to present all the questions and hopefully chime in with some clever responses.
Oh, yes. Just noting that Tom had some stuff come up, so it's all good. They'll be back for for another Q&A. But yeah, they're still around. It's just they were busy today, so all good. But yeah, we'll go down the list starting with Happy in Discord here.
Hi, I'm happy. I'm happy today. I am one of the sound designer, localization lead, maybe future community manager. Wink, wink. I don't know. Yeah, I do stuff, and I'm here.
Cool. Lumia or Mac?
Hi. Hi, I'm Lumia. Are we just introducing ourselves?
Yeah, it's just the intro. Okay. Just got some people
Sorry,
here.
I'm not usually here for the beginnings of these. If I join, I usually come at the end or in the middle.
Sneak on in, yeah.
Yeah. So hi everybody. I'm Lumia. I'm just a developer. I don't do anything interesting. I just write code.
That's pretty interesting. Makes the game work. Makes Defrag work.
Actually, I just add new bugs. That's
yeah. I like seeing Sentry just go fucking wild. All good. Then we got
hi.
Mac, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Mac. I joined the team mostly for mapping related stuff, but recently I've been getting into coding some tools. It's quite fun.
Good old BSP convert, helping out with the tooling for converting Quake 3 defrag maps over to BSP to BSP conversion over to source. So really, really awesome tool. Can't wait to... we might have a blog post for it, but we'll see. Just explaining like what it's doing and like why it's very important for O10O. But yeah. And then last but not least, XB Man.
Yep, I'm XB Man. I'm mostly just a surf enthusiast and a surf mapper, working on the learn section right now, as well as kind of, I guess, consulting people on the requirements for the upcoming zone refactor stuff.
Yeah, well actually that's a really good transition. I did turn up Happy's volume, by the way. Try saying something, Happy, again?
You shouldn't, because my mic was far away from me, so yeah.
Okay, I turned you back down to 100%. So let us know if anyone's too quiet or anything like that. But cool. But yeah, that is a great point. The zoning document. We can go into our first, I guess, standard question of what everyone's been up to. So it's I think I talked about it in the last Q&A. It's been a while. It's been a month since then. But yeah, the team has been primarily working on a lot of documentation around the new zone format and related features to it. So Momentum currently has a zone format that's pretty rudimentary. It's very basic, right? Like it's a start, you got stage triggers, checkpoints, and then an end trigger. The way that that's laid out, in a file and represented in our database and things like that, it's just kind of old. It was done basically when there was just surf and bunny hop, and then all of the other game modes we're adding were just kind of like either using it and then poking holes in it, or just there's some things like defrag, or for example, that need specific start conditions. So we just have been, for the past like month-ish, we've been going through and looking at all of the modes that we're supporting, or planning to support, and looking at what each of the modes needs in terms of zones. So what does the start zone need to do? What do servers do in particular with start or end zones? Are there things that we can consolidate, that we can make easier, maybe remove some need for some entities, and maybe put it directly in the zone as opposed to just having to insert or edit maps to have entities. So there's a lot of just great discussion that's going around. We have basically meetings every Saturday, which is just the normal team meeting, but we're also doing the zoning meeting on top of that. And it's been really great because we're really approaching I guess a destination for this zone format that's going to be really, I guess, flexible is the best way to say, because it's going to support pretty much every mode that we want to support, including ones that are just kind of like floating off as ideas right now that aren't really set in stone. And it's really going to be fun to start to implement this and iterate on it for 0.10.0. It's just one of the many things for 0.10.0. It's the biggest thing, I would say, holding back 0.10.0 right now. But once it's figured out, we can start to divvy up the work for that implementation. We can update our website, Tom's work that they've been doing, a ton of great website work that Tom's been doing, as well as other contributors, which it's open source. If you have time or capacity and want a free key, consider contributing. That's actually the easiest way to get access to the game. I'd say easiest, but it's still, right? Like showing interest in, the project and helping out can get you access to the game sooner than the playtest line. But yeah, so just a lot of this discussion is towards getting a solid zone format, and then related things to that, like entities, if we need to. There's a lot of like old entity code. So Rio in particular is interested in kind of cleaning up a ton of the entities that were written when I didn't even know C++. So we're doing a lot of discussion around that, choosing, what refactors to go. Like we have giant Discord threads on like what we should do about like the teleport entity, for example, and like how much it should do, or like if you should split off some, stuff like that. So there's a lot of great discussion that's happening, and it might seem like it's not a lot of public facing stuff, but it's all accumulating for 0.10.0. And that's our target right now is 0.10.0. We just updating everyone again on the versioning, right? We updated the versioning update that we did a while ago is that every push that we do to Steam now that has code is a version, right? It bumps a version number. And our priority, right, or in terms of my like development lead and like development expertise, is towards the next milestone. So it's a lot of spec related stuff that does require more than just me to do it. So we do a lot of meetings right now, but a lot of the work towards the milestone, which is that second number, like the feature milestone 0.10.0, is what we're focusing on. We're not really looking at 1.0 because it's so far out in the future. Like it's kind of stupid to think that far forward right now when we have to like worry about zoning and entities, because that's needed to then go on to replays, right, for 0.11.0, and then starting to branch off into like, okay, do we do cosmetics, or looking into the anti-cheat system and stuff like that. We have around like 10 developers, but it's all done in free time, so we can't always be working, and we just need to know what we need to work on, so we document that, create GitHub cards and things like that. And then we're able to actually, execute whenever we have the time to. So that's really what the main team's been up to. But there's also been, great strides in the open source tooling. So open source website stuff, Tom has been taking lead there, and it's pretty much nearing completion of being able to be deployed. And that'll be fun because we'll start to move over to a more scalable. Right now we just have our website on like a static server. We're going to try to look into a scalable system. So if we ever get 10 to 100,000 players and need to scale, we can do so. And so that's going to be very exciting. There's a lot of fun deployment stuff I'm going to get to do for that that I'm looking forward to. And then there's also a ton of open source tooling work done by Panzer, by Bird, on our BSP Convert and Lumper projects respectively. And these are really important for the 0.10 update, right? BSP convert is converting Quake 3 maps directly over to source without having to decompile, so you get the most accurate representation. And then Lumper is actually going to be our lump editing and map review tool that we're going to be using for the map upload process for 0.10 and onwards. So Lumper is really just going to be this important tool for making sure that the maps that already exist are pretty much the final version that we need, right? And then down the line, as people make new maps, being able to scan for things that might be bad, right? So, or just like common pitfalls or just weird like entity behaviors or things like that we can automate and put into Lumper and just have it be just kind of this automated tool that once we get the map review pipeline going, we'll have, the admins, when they're about to add it, run it through Lumper, see some things, if there's anything that they need to give to the mapper, right? We can go back and forth there. But yeah, really, really exciting work all around, honestly. And, like a lot of smaller features and stuff usually found in our changelogs as well, if you want to get more up to date with like what we've actually been up to, what we've been shipping. So, I guess in terms of like other team members, a lot of people have been moving. I mean, like I moved recently, right, in February. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of movement for the team behind a movement game. So very, very funny coincidence, but yeah, that's just kind of how it is with this stuff. And that's why it's all volunteer, like whenever we have free time, motivation based development,
Passion driven.
Passion, yeah, very, very passionate people working on this game. So yeah, so cool. I think that kind of sums up that. Was there anything I might have missed for this section? Otherwise, we can go ahead and get into our first asked question here.
I have an off-topic question.
Nick,
Is that momentum logo on your wall?
Oh, in the poster behind me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a poster that my sister made for me when it's like a moving gift. So yeah, I have the first piece of Momentum Mod merch. No, I'm just kidding. We'll actually have things like posters, mouse pads. Like we do actually want to have really good quality merch. Traz and I believe there's somebody else in the community also that had I think it was Enjoy, but don't quote me on that. There were people that were showing interest in helping design and also allocate the like resources for doing things like we could do stickers, we could do just fun Momentum Mod things to have around in your house or wear or use as a mousepad or something like that.
Yep,
so
apparel, merchandise.
Yes, yeah, apparel, yeah. And so that's what we're working towards, but it's not really a priority right now. We got to figure out, we do have a platform in mind that we want to use, that we can use for it. And then we're going to start to look into designs as we round the 0.10 update. So once we get past that, we'll start to look into like how we could start to, create some cool merch. Because again, we're not trying to sell out. We're trying to just create some really cool swag that like represents your game modes that you like, or the game if you really like Momentum. Like I want to have a Momentum Mod team shirt for everybody on the team. Like I want to get everyone a team shirt, stuff like that. Just like really cool things that like I would want to use and like hopefully you would too, kind of stuff. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that in the future. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to our first asked question here.
So our first question is by Guy151 asking, is CS2 being released going to throw any monkey wrenches into development? Like, are there any features from that you'd want to implement in Momentum Mod?
Right on. So yeah, so CS2 being released isn't going to throw a huge monkey wrench into development. The main thing we have that I think I talked about in the last stream is that we need to clarify with Valve what's going to happen to the Source 1 assets from CSGO, and how we would go about maybe including it, because assuming that CSGO is disappearing, right? What does that mean in the sense of like maps that we support that use CSGO assets, and just anything like that, right? Do we have to source our own replacements? Can we just ship CSGO assets now with our game? So we're going to figure that out with Valve. So we're currently dealing with contact there about that. I think that would be the biggest monkey wrench out of this, other than maybe just the influx of people finding momentum, because CS2 movement might be a little jank. I don't know. Like, other than that, I don't know. We have another CS2 question about like the surf game mode and stuff, but like I don't really see it as detrimental, right? Like I don't see it as problematic. The only problematic thing would just be assets, but like a lot of the maps we support right now are mainly CSS. But yeah, we would just need to figure out CSGO assets, and I'm assuming Valve would probably give us the thumbs up to do it because all of the assets were converted for Source 2, right, into a new format that we would either need to parse if we wanted to continue mounting, or they would have to give us Source 2 for us to continue mounting, or we would just have to source ourselves. Like we would just have to create either replacements or AI generate or whatever, like replacement textures. So it's exciting. I think, you know, being on modern engine stuff is really cool. So I'm happy for CS players, right, to enjoy that. But I don't think it really affects us in any detrimental way. Are there any features that we'd like to implement? I mean, yeah, like the new hammer looks really cool. The new tooling and stuff seems like there was a lot of thought and like the creation pipeline being more streamlined, or just easier to use, like tools, right? Making hammer better, right? That's really what we would want out of it. There are, you know, new lighting systems and stuff like that, but realistically, right, that's just with the new engine. And like we already have panorama, which is probably the most valuable thing out of Source 2, that we got for free from getting CSGO license. So we already have probably the most valuable thing, but like the second most valuable thing would probably be just kind of the cleaner code base of a modern engine, and, you know, active development and stuff like that. It would be really cool, right, if we could, like, you know, GitHub style fork Source 2 and like contribute upstream and stuff like that, work with Valve devs to help, you know, fix or add features to the engine or things like that. But they don't operate like that, right? Once you get licensed, you kind of just get the code. So it's it's not really a back and forth. It's you can upstream fixes manually, like by emailing them, but like you don't directly contribute to the engine, if that makes sense. So anyway, getting a little off topic, there's not really much other than just really the new tooling, I'd say, that we'd want to implement. I
really like the way that their VRAD looks. If we could get VRAD, that'd be great.
Yeah, the new lighting, bouncing, and like global illumination really makes maps look great. And I'm grateful that it isn't just like fully, you know, was it like runtime global illumination, which is like, yeah, real-time like ray tracing and stuff, where it's performance heavy. Pre-calculated lighting is really nice because, yeah, you generate it once and then your map has that brilliant lighting on pretty much every platform that can load the, you know, BSP that has it packed into it. So yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of internal stuff like that that would be really nice to like look at and take inspiration from or just use straight up, but there's nothing other than like panorama and the new tooling that would really be like what we like we we would really benefit from, because like we're approaching, for our code base, we're actually approaching a much cleaner, I think this is a question asked in the last Q&A, whether or not like how spaghetti, right, is the code base now after all we've done. It's really getting cleaned up. We're actually we're actually pretty close to having BSPs be containerized, which means that they could just be loaded in memory, and then eventually just like the game would apply it, right? And so what you can do, right, is like for playlists or gauntlet runs, you can load all of the BSPs that are coming up, or single player games, for example, could load the next maps. And then once you hit the level load, it just applies it. And that is a much faster operation than loading from disk. So yeah, there's things like that we're just doing a lot of cleanup and optimization around to eventually have these really cool features that other Source 1 games just can't or won't have. I think, yeah, they containerized map loading because they just completely rewrote map loading in Source 2, right? Like, I think CS2's settings has like a mini map that loads now, and you can actually see the settings change, like the, you know, the what was it, anti-aliasing and things like that in real time. Like that's pretty cool, and we're getting to that point to where we could get to the loading of that map asynchronously, but then rendering it in panorama is another thing entirely. So we'll figure it out, but in due time. But we're getting there. So it's exciting. It's exciting, and we're excited for what Valve will say to us in response to our inquiry about just like what it means for CSGO to go away. So yeah, we'll update you all when we can, when we get a response and like a path forward for that. So yeah, but I don't have any other things for this. Was there any other input for Guy's question here?
Just a compliment. It was a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just oh, go ahead, Happy.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because I kind of forgot. There is no difference in movement, right? Like the movement is the same with the CS2.
So it's slightly different. The tick list movement, right? If that's what servers want to use, will be it'll be different. And then there's also there's a different physics engine behind it. But it's ideally similar because like if they use the CS game movement code, like the overall feel of the movement should be the same. It's the same kind of idea of us going to CSGO engine, but having CSS surf movement, right? So there's a lot of that, but like there could be maybe behaviors that a lot of people were relying on for game modes, or like game modes were just like by default using, right? Like maybe Havoc, the old physics engine, was doing something in particular that Rubicon, the new one, the new Source 2 physics simulation doesn't do, right? Like, so there could be just differences there. From what I was seeing, there was like a lot of maps that were being converted are getting a lot of ramp bugs just because like collisions against a plane, I guess, isn't something that because it's all mesh based. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. That like there's just like minor things that I'm sure Valve can fix and will take note over the beta period of CS2, right? But we'll see, because like again, if they're focusing more on the competitive side of things and ramp bugs and stuff are not really in competitive, then I don't know what that means. Will the server communities have to patch things server side again, and then you have the same issue that you still have in CSGO of server side fixes and introducing latency into that, right? Yeah, turns into a mess. So we'll see, but it should be pretty similar. It should feel similar. I'm sure a lot of, because like the main goal of CS2 is to make it feel pretty close to CSGO, especially because it's replacing it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, since this kind of always comes up, people ask us this, I just wanted to follow on with this, that if we did get access to Source 2's source code, which we probably won't, but if we did, we're not going to be porting to Source 2. People always kind of wonder that. Porting to Source 2, long story short, would be more work than it's really worth. We wouldn't get much out of it. But we could sort of like take code from it and make almost like a Source 1, Source 2 hybrid.
Yeah.
But it's pretty unlikely, I think, that we'll get Source 2 code at all. But
we'll never know until we ask. But yeah, we'll see. It's yeah, but that is very true. It's very good to be able to reference that code, but not, I don't know if we'd be able to have because that would take probably another year to just like port to Source 2 and make sure everything's good, if we did get it. So yeah, we're just going forward with the assumption that we're not getting it, and if we do get it, we'd probably pull things from it, rearrange maybe some of our code to better match it, load vmaps and stuff, be able to load Source 2 stuff in our hybrid Strata engine. But yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Lumia. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. Thank you, Guy, for that.
So our next question is by Lotus, who's curious to know, will there be any options to change your HUD to adapt to your preferences to the game that you came from? For example, Counter-Strike Source-like HUD for Bunny Hop.
So with Panorama, our UI, we've actually been able to fully open source all of the code that we wrote for Panorama. So our Panorama code that we ship in the game is actually public right now on GitHub. You could technically add any HUD you'd like. You'd have to make it, but for the most part, right, we're trying to find a default that will match each of the modes like that you come from. I know there are more niche HUDs and things like that. We want to offer the best of both worlds of like a default that suits a lot of people, right, the majority of people, and then having the customization of being able to turn specific things on and off, changing, you know, styles of things, being able to move the location, right, of elements to be better suited to whatever you'd like. So yes, in a way, but we won't like, was it like go one for one? Like we don't want to like you boot up the game and it's like you didn't even leave CSS, right? We want to have like our own touch to it. So like there's going to be equivalents to this like CSS like HUDs and things like that, but for the most part, right, to be able to toggle it to be what you are used to is really important to us. But there's some limitations there of like there might be some more niche things that we don't port because it's like, you know, who uses that, or like this new thing we added is much better, or things like that. So there might be some levels of like you might have to create your own custom HUD, which we will support. We do want to have custom HUDs that you can just, you know, put into your custom folder, right? And that might even be on our workshop if we do that. So we'll see kind of how it's going to go with HUDs like that. But yes, absolutely, we do want to have options to let you customize your HUD to be how you're used to. But there might be missing features or adapted features into maybe a different like way to display the data. You know, for example, like sync isn't as good as like gain or anything. Like, yeah, so there's different preferences like that, right? That we might default to having gain and like that kind of stuff on, and then sync is more of like in the background and you can toggle it on if you really want to see it again, things like that. So it's just that's just like a crude example. Don't take my word verbatim for that, but like just an example there. So yeah, that hopefully that answers that. It's yes, we do want to have customization in the HUD space dearly. Like we do want that. Any other input for Lotus's question?
No, I think it's a nice feature to have. Give people the experience they're looking for if they want to go back to 2004 or no 2003 era, even before then 1.6, where you're playing like the original maps of some of these game modes. It's like some people that's what they want to do, but they want to have these kind of features. So it's all about the experience, and having a feature like that definitely enriches that experience people are looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And just having armor. No, sorry. Having an armor HUD element. I gotta have it. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Lotus, for this question. We'll move on then to the next one.
Our next question is by 101 Dominations. It sounds like a movie we've all seen growing up. Is there any, and they want to know, is there any plan to do montages of record times, aka replays and stuff of a certain month and or year, like KSF Records on YouTube, like a channel, like a records channel on YouTube?
So we've actually talked about records before. There's a limit of what we want to in the momentum official stuff. So I'm really a big fan of having kind of like delegating a lot of like world record uploads and stuff like that to the community, because what I want Momentum's channel to focus on is more highlighting stuff. So things like montages for mappers or runners would be amazing to have on the Momentum, because like the Momentum channel should be showcasing the game and the community in it, but like in a showcase way, and not like spamming, you know, if you were to sub to us, spamming a world record upload, because we're going to have 10 modes with like potentially thousands of players. So like a world record being uploaded, like it'd be like every minute or something, you know, something crazy like that. But having instead maybe just highlight around a mapper and like all of the stuff they've done and like showcasing all of their maps via maybe the world records on that map, or just showcasing runners that have been doing just crazy feats, right, of world records or any streaks like that. I know we're gonna have playlists, and then that leads to gauntlets, showing off gauntlet world records, which is a like kind of best of both worlds of showing crazy skill but also in a string of maps, you know, back to back. So there's a lot of like opportunity for us to do more highlight, you know, maybe edited focus of things. Interviews was another thing, just like interviewing mappers and like seeing, you know, what inspires them, what their thought process is, things like that. And runners, you know, what motivates them to like grind it out, like what's their grinding process, things like that. So there's a lot that we'd like to do, focusing on maybe aspects of the community, looking at once we get clans into the game, looking at the clan highlights, maybe showing off like a like, do you want to join, you know, best surfers NA or whatever whatever clans come out of that, things like that. We really want to just showcase our community and just like what's happening inside of the game, in a more broad but like edited like showcase vibe, like a montage would
That's
be.
what I was going to describe, like art showcases. You mentioned interviews, things like that, things things people have done with the tools we provided them with, not just the replays, not just the game mechanics, but the things that you can do with the game.
Yeah. And that also extends over to the team too. Like if there's things that the team is working on that we're doing a lot of great stuff for, having just some showcase videos of, you know, upcoming, maybe like teasers of things upcoming. And so that's really what the Momentum channel, like official Momentum channel, is going to be. Momentum records and stuff like that, like any other like off-brand or like just kind of like community highlight stuff, I would just put more into the community there, because I wouldn't really want to step in the way of that at all. I would love to have, you know, some way to showcase the community in a more I guess like constructed, like editorialized way, and then have the community handle more things like that if they want to, but like, you know, doing more like world record uploads or things like that. I mean, we're not going to limit you guys to doing like everything, you know, in the game. You guys can make videos about. It's fine. But like our channel would be focusing more on just highlighting. So was there any
it's
other
also worth noting that we'll make it a lot easier for people to make these videos. We're going to have like inbuilt demo recording tools and things, so that you can export the demos to video files a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah, the source video recorder by Crashfort, we'd love to implement directly into the replay controls, so that if you play a replay and you're like, this is sick, you can just hit a couple of buttons to export the whole thing as a video. We could probably look, depending on how much effort and time this will take, we could look into maybe like sectioning it if you want to make a clip or something like that. So there's a lot of integration like that we'd like to do to make it even easier to make montages or just any video in general about the game. Any other input?
I guess to kind of wrap it up, it would be cool to see it extend to like stuff like Twitter, you know, stuff like that, not necessarily YouTube channel. At least like Twitter can show up some cool maps, for example.
I don't know. Maybe like a year ago that would be a great idea, but nowadays Twitter's not something we're looking forward to using that much. I mean, we barely use it as is, but like even more so nowadays, it's not really, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't want to pay Elon another $1,000 a month. You know, like I don't know, because like we could have automatically had maybe our Twitter like post like a new map or something via a webhook, but now it's $1,000 a month to do that, so I don't really care anymore about Twitter. We'll see. I mean, we'll be on Twitter, obviously. We'll squat our brand on there, but like we'll see down the line. We'll see. We might post some stuff there, but.
You know, I'm kind of working as a community manager. For games, so you know, hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll need people to manage that if we go with it. But it's we're trying to consolidate a little bit more towards Discord, mainly because we got to maintain our Discord partnership status, which requires people joining and hanging out in their Discord. Plus, it's just like the best place to like kind of keep up with the game, and not in a way that's like trying to sell Discord or anything. It's just like we're all there. We do our meetings there. We're there, right? Like that's just the best place to be. Like we're not all on Steam forums right now. Like it, you know, so whatever. But
it shows we're working with the community, like like directly, not indirectly. If you
it's a window.
Discord, you see everybody every Saturday doing a meeting. You see all the posts, you see all the different channels, you see all the different conversations. Like we are definitely engaged with the community.
Yeah. So, but hopefully that answers that. 101. Yeah, we're really looking forward to doing a lot of showcase stuff in the future, and we'll see where all it gets posted. But YouTube, absolutely. Cool. All right. Moving on to the next question.
Our next question by Jonas wants to know, do we have any thoughts on the strings related to an official surf game mode found in the current CS2 closed build?
Project's canceled. Cancel Momentum. It's done.
Do you know what the strings are?
I think it's like when you practice with bots, or like when you set up a server, you can choose like what type of like mode you want to play, right? So there's like all the official modes like demolition and stuff like that. And then I guess the strings are related to having an option there for surf, but maybe it's not actually active in Panorama or something. So again, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that Valve acknowledges the custom game modes, and surf, I guess, is the biggest one. Though I'd say KZ might actually be, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of like great a lot of great energy there that Valve can put into supporting these custom modes. However, keeping in mind, right, that this is still just on like you have to think about Momentum Mod as a platform, right? You can't just think, it's very easy to think that, oh hey, Momentum Mod is the game that I'm gonna surf on. And if that's the only thing you think Momentum is for, seeing things like CS2 getting a surf mode or things like that could maybe make you question why Momentum Mod exists, but it's a very narrow mindset, right? Momentum Mod exists to centralize all of the supported modes globally, letting you play whatever map you want, whenever you want, and with our optional multiplayer with whoever you want if you want to, right? There's a lot of just like freedom and like breaking from the original, like, I guess the source material, right? Breaking from that, I guess pun intended there, being able to just kind of do whatever and still have that global community, global competition, and just the, you know, the features that we're adding that are hopefully making it more fun and more engaging to do so. So my thoughts on surf in CS2 is cool. It's like, it's really cool that Valve acknowledges that. I mean, they technically do because they licensed us. They wouldn't license a game about surfing if they didn't know it existed or anything like that. So, you know, like it's really cool to see that it has some like official bits there. And yeah, again, for the people that are like, oh, like I play a lot of CS and I want to do a little bit of surfing, this is perfect for that, right? Momentum might not be perfect for that because it's like, yeah, it's a different game. I have to install this other thing and download maps. But like for people that are like, oh yeah, I want to surf like 10 minutes while, you know, my friend goes and gets like dinner or something, like whatever, right? Like that's perfect for what I think CS2, like the official surf mode in CS2 is for. I am not worried. Like, again, until there is a game like Momentum Mod out, I'm not really worried for the future of Momentum or anything like that. I think Momentum is going to still have a really great impact for a lot of people that care about the features that the platform's giving you. If you don't care about the like platform or the features or anything like that, yeah, it's really easy to see why, or to say like, oh, Momentum is gonna die or like think like that because in your mind, right? Like, oh, I don't need to play Momentum, and I guess everyone's like me, so everyone's not gonna play it or something. Now, I'm not saying that's what Jonas is saying, by the way. I'm just like extrapolating, like to, yeah, the Shraman. Anyway, but like the main thing to keep in mind is that Momentum's features and just like everything that Momentum's being built for is why it exists, right? Like, we're not doing it because, you know, like, oh, surf is popular, we're making a surf game, like, or anything like that. It's just like, oh, surf is great, but it could be better. It could be much better than it's, even in CS2, it could be much better than it is in CS2, right? Because it's still annoying. You still have to join a server. You still have to deal with ping. You still have to deal with RTV. You still, you know, like all the, well, I guess if there's an official mode that you play offline or something, you won't have a timer, but I guess for a lot of people that doesn't matter. They just want to surf, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't really view it as detrimental either. I think I talked about this in the first question. I think it's interesting.
In the worst case, it would just be like basically having another CSGO, which isn't that much of a, it doesn't have that much of an impact on our game.
Yeah.
But also, like, these are just like strings, and like people seeing a map being run on an official server. It could have been like literally just the devs messing around. So like I wouldn't get my hopes up too much.
Which, that's also really cool, is that, you know, there's devs that are surfing. They probably play Momentum secretly. I don't know. There's like, it's cool. It's just like, I think it's really cool, but it's like, it's not detrimental to Momentum in any way. Because even if it comes out, I think that's great. I hope they make a combat surf, like, official mode. I hope they do that. Like, that's perfect for what CS is, right? And it combines surf and the combat, and you can show off your skins that you get from opening crates and stuff. Like, that's perfect. But, you know, I don't know, like, what their motivation is behind all that. So we'll see. But I think it's cool.
I think, no offense to Valve, but I think that Valve is not as well equipped as us to make a competitive skill surf game. I just don't think that they have the same kind of expertise that we have, and same kind of experience, and the same kind of platform. I don't think that Source 2 is as good of a platform as it is now, especially with the much more advanced mapping tools that are harder to use for people who aren't like professional game artists. So I have no idea what Valve's planning to do with Surf, but I would also not really feel like threatened by it, just because I think that if Valve did try to make competitive Surf in CS2, I don't think they would do that good of a job. No offense to Valve, but I mean,
yeah, it's on the
better. So
they would have to be heavily involved with the community to give them what they actually want out of a surf game.
Yeah.
And that would require Valve to do a lot of just back and forth communication.
Yeah, and there are some CSGO devs on like the CSGO subreddit and stuff that, you know, like that are giving some input onto some of the bigger changes. But yeah, I agree. I think that, you know, like they'll be able to do it. They'll probably use like Steam leaderboards or something if they do have a like, you know, like just kind of like it's there, and it's like a fun thing that like just like a fun thing that you could do. But in any serious terms, you'd either use a server on CS2 or a game built for it. So yeah, it's a good point there. Is there any? Sorry.
Imagine if official surf mod for CSGO is like redemption arc for canceled TF2 Rockin' Jump Wars.
Maybe, yeah, right. Like TF2, I don't know, right? Like if they're gonna make or remake TF2 or anything like that. So yeah, but that's my thoughts, at least, on the surf stuff. Interesting, but not, you know, problematic in any way. I think it'll be cool to see, I guess, if it is going to be an official thing, but it's not going to affect our development or our scope or goals or anything like that. All right, thank you, Jonas. We'll move on to the next question here.
Our next question by Snowbug asking, will HUD menus such as bcheck make it into the game?
Right. So there was more to this question that talks about there are like HUD menus. So I'll just reiterate that there are HUD menus. You can have you know, like commands and stuff beyond the number keys, right? So that's we made that kind of extensible as like for a mapping tool or like practicing tools and stuff like that. Just really quick commands that you can add to a static menu there. But when it comes to things like bcheck, I want to talk on that. So bcheck is a plugin that lets you check to see what the conditions are for a bounce, I believe. I might be a little wrong there, but you use bcheck to check if you're like at the right height or like what kind of bounce it would be. And a bounce in rocket jump is when you jump down onto basically a very thin trigger, and you're able to kind of skip hitting the trigger because of the way that you jump onto it and like hit a rocket and like pogo on top of it and stuff like that. So bcheck is this really helpful tool to be able to just very quickly see, oh, I need, I'm at the right height or anything like that. So when it comes to bounces, which is where I was heading, when it comes to bounces, we want to make them more consistent. There are a lot of things that bounces are great for, but a lot of them are some of them can be random, right? Some of the bounces just feel random, and in our game we don't like the thing that feels random, right? We really want consistent behavior. So in our case, we might not do bcheck, but we might just make bounces more consistent, if that makes more sense. So like you don't have to check what height, like as long as you're able to, do a bounce, you should be able to. There's a couple of ways to do it. I mean, we do have the one touch trigger, or one hop or whatever, right? Where it's like you could technically land on the ground, but you can't like, bunny hop off the ground. You would have to effectively immediately rocket jump, because if you hit the ground again, you would teleport back. There's things like that we could look into doing. I know that's really cheap, but there's we could look at making bounces just in general more consistent, and then having enough UX around that to make it clear that, because bounces are just, it's very, very weird, but they are an interesting mechanic, and I think it's really satisfying doing a bounce properly. But having just having more consistent bounces is ideally, right? Because we already got rid of wall bugs, right? Because it's just like an inconsistent, like kind of gimmick like tool that you could use in your runs. But we want to reintroduce wall bug-ish behavior with maybe triggers that could like stop your velocity as if you like hit like a slope or something on the wall. So there's like that's our approach to a lot of things that are just kind of weird and like maybe need a custom HUD in order to do. We don't want that, right? We want to have the base game be as kind of applicable to the mode, but then fixing a lot of or making more consistent a lot of the random aspects. So that includes bounces. We've already done it for wall bugs. We've already done it for ramp bugs, right? Like there's a lot of things like that well, okay, ramp bugs were just annoying, but like wall bugs were actually tactful in some maps. Some maps are actually built around wall bugs, or texture bugs even. So there's a lot of there's a lot of work that we need to do to identify problematic kind of random, pseudo-random, or even just straight up random behavior like bounces to make more consistent. And so, as we approach and get more consistent solutions, we're going to be testing those throughout the playtests, making sure that we're approaching a solution that makes sense from mapping and playing, right? We want to have a good solution that works for both. We're not just going to slap like a fix in and just be like, there you go, right? Like we definitely want to make sure we're approaching this in a considerate manner. So
yeah, bounces are they're difficult because from like the programmatic point of view, it's difficult to tell whether any bounce is intentional or unintentional or consistent or RNG. There's not like an easy way in code to say, okay, these bounces are good and we can keep them, and these bounces are bad. So it's still kind of an ongoing discussion as to what exactly we're going to do with them. But in the case that we would still have bounces that you need to check the height for specifically, we'd also probably end up doing like a much better UI than just like a menu that shows you the height. You have to like select the floor and stuff like that, like bcheck and TF2, because we have full control over the HUD and UI. So we could make something that looks a lot nicer.
Yes,
it's just kind of undetermined at this point what is actually going to happen with bounces.
Yeah. Really good point. Yeah, I should be flexing that more. Yeah, because we aren't a server, we don't have to deal with just HUD menu, right? We can do full-on custom HUD to be way more integrated into the game than any plugin suite could ever dream of. So, a very good point there. But yeah, it's just right now it's just not determined. So, we have yet to figure out how it's going to look. All right. Any other input for Snowbug's question? Cool. Thank you, Snowbug. We'll move on to the next.
Next question by WAVY. I think that spells out wavy. And they are curious to know what are, if any, intentions we may have to add tricks to Momentum.
We get this every single time. I love it. I feel like a broken record at this point, but no, it's good. We get new people asking, very important questions. So no, we don't. Just rehashing the kind of same thing, and I'll show this off in the gameplay that we're about to do too after the questions. Momentum Mod is a single player focused game. We're only adding modes that you can really only do by yourself. And the main thing is that we're focusing on speedrunning, right? The moment that you add something like tricks or multiplayer only modes becomes you need to find somebody else to play it with. So then we either need to add matchmaking or it's a dead mode until you have a friend to play it with. So we could technically do it, but we don't want to. Our focus is more towards the single player focused, but multiplayer optional modes. You can still do things like races and tournaments and things like that, but it allows us to have, the ability to play whatever map you want, whatever, like whenever you want, with whatever ping you want, which is 0. No, it's just like, that's the thing. It's like tricks, you have to then factor in ping, right? And so that becomes the whole thing of like that could ruin the experience. I don't know. There's like, I think tricks is interesting. Like watching tricks gameplay it's fascinating, but I don't think it's something that would like fit with what Momentum's going for. And just the way that the game is designed, we just don't have multiplayer capability to synchronize 2 game states together. Because that again is going against what we want to do with letting you do whatever, right? Whenever, with whoever. I like the flexibility more of the approach that we took. Because otherwise, right, we would just be making effectively Counter-Strike like game modes the game, right? Like, or your favorite server the game, because like it would just be the same thing as joining a server, and then you would have to spin up a server for every single map, and then you would have to deal with so like it sucks, but at the same time, I think the flexibility that the game has for all the other modes is just extremely worthwhile. We can add some sort of like nudges towards tricks to where like if you're in a lobby and you're on a map that has like tricks as the prefix or something, we could enable grenades to collide with ghosts. The main problem with this again is that we just don't synchronize game state, and that allows the 0 ping feel but still have multiplayer feel. If we were to add tricks, we would have to synchronize game state, which adds ping and also changes the way that multiplayer works. And we wouldn't want to do that. So it is unfortunate that we cannot support tricks, hide and seek, combat surf, things like that, where the main goal, which, I mean, tricks is speedrunning related. You are completing a map, right, in due time, but like combat surf and stuff like that's just like, that's not speedrunning. Hide and seek is more, it's not really speedrunning either. Like we're really speedrun focused. Like we really care about like having a timer and having an end goal in mind that you can grind, and the main improvement there being personal improvement. But yeah, I think that Momentum having this flexible multiplayer that just you don't even need to play with other people in order to play the game is just the best way to do it, because it just offers the most like flexibility, but just choice also too. So like there's levels to like full on just like by yourself with like nobody else except for the leaderboard, I guess, to in a lobby with your friends if you want to, just playing on a map, to joining a dedicated lobby. I think we have a question about that actually. And like playing with a larger community, maybe a clan, joining a clan and doing clan tournaments and stuff like that, or clan wars or anything like that we add, to like forming a clan and like running. So like there's a lot of like scale of community there versus like just going straight to that last aspect of like, oh yeah, like you're effectively just hosting servers again. So it's unfortunate, but I also don't really know how leaderboards for a co-op mode would work. I guess you could use the fastest time that you've ever done, but like that might not be that person's anyway, it's weird. It's just it's a weird setup for how momentum, all of the other modes that we're adding to momentum are set up. So sorry, but yeah, I don't think we have really any intention of changing that. I think, you know, this path forward is just the best way to go forward with momentum. Adding any synchronicity into multiplayer is just going to complicate things. Even just adding it as like an optional path, to where, yeah, it's just like we have to do a bunch of dev work to basically re-add the old multiplayer or make the old multiplayer work in that case. And then how is that also going to work officially with, you know, with our game? Like so, you know, you'd have to send 2 replays in or something. Like it's weird. It's just a weird setup compared to the rest of the game. So, and yeah, just like the design decision of the game being single player focused is really the main reason why we aren't. It's a cool game mode. Again, not knocking trikz or anything like that. It's really cool to watch, really cool game mode, but it's just not a good fit for what momentum is trying to be. So maybe, hey, if any Valve CS developer is listening, maybe a trikz game mode might be pretty cool. Surf, combat surf, trikz, hide and seek. Be perfect fit for CS2, right? Anyway, so I don't know. I'm sorry, because we get this a lot, and I feel bad because I know that it's a genuinely great mode. It's just like it just doesn't fit with what we're building. So yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Any other input for Wavy's question here?
Kinda. I've never played trikz. What is that? Is that like 1v1 surf or?
No. So trikz is a CS based mode where you basically use there's a force when you throw a flashbang, I think at a teammate. If you throw a flashbang, they can jump off of that flashbang to get like an insane boost. Like you get launched off of that grenade. So there's a ton of maps that have been created where you have a thrower and kind of like I don't know the terms, so I'm gonna get laughed at by the trikz community. I mean, we already have been. Yeah, there's a flyer and a thrower, and so the flyer is the person that jumps, and like you synchronize, like you can use, I think, bullet shots and stuff, like to synchronize when you jump on top of that person's head and they throw the grenade, it'll synchronize. That's why you need the synchronized state, because the grenade is then going to hit you, the flyer, and you fly all the way to the end, and usually there's like a button or a teleport or whatever that the thrower can then use to catch up with you. It's very cool, very cooperative, needs a lot of synchronization there, but yeah, it's just a really cool like multiplayer mode. It's really niche, like even more niche I'd say than a lot of the modes we've added, but it is still very fascinating. It's not to be conflated with triksurf or like any mode that has like tricks in it, tricks, where the trick is just kind of like you're using a map and there's like predestined like spots that you need to go, and it's usually just like doing an interesting like route through a map or things like that. So that's a really, really dry way to look at triksurf, but like it's, you know, it's very fascinating, like the tricks that can come out of triksurf, because like there are combat surf maps that are these open arenas, and like you could just like do some insane like fucking like surfing to get all around it or anything like that. They're, you know, they're different niches, but triksurf is something that we do want to add because that's actually, you know, it's still speedrun related, and it's actually more of a I guess it's more of a sandbox experience because you can kind of create your own tricks to do in that. But it gets kind of confusing because the grenade mode called trikz, like it's when you talk about the two, it's like, shit, which one are you talking about? But yeah, it'll be interesting to add triksurf and then abstract the trick like related stuff to every mode. So every mode will be able to do like what triksurf does on any map, right? I'm really excited to have that extensibility because that adds a lot of replayability to existing maps, and then also allows us to include combat maps into the game that you could just do. And I'm really excited. So, but yeah,
I just want to clarify, because I think I've heard some other things before. Just to summarize, the reason that we're not putting trikz with a Z in the game is because it doesn't really work with our multiplayer. Like, you can't have 0 ping and multiplayer at the same time.
Yes.
You can do a bunch of stuff to fake it, but you can't actually have 0 ping and multiplayer at the same time. Like, it doesn't work. Right. So we're going for 0 ping because it's better for the majority of our game modes. And the other reason is just like, it doesn't really fit with momentum what we want to be with having something that you can play even if you're the only one playing it, right? We don't want people to be locked out of stuff because they live friends. Somewhere without good internet, or there's nobody else playing or something like that. It's not because we don't have a player model or anything else. It's just because it's not architecturally and game design wise, it doesn't fit with momentum.
Yeah. So hopefully that.
Just the last question, kind of to close it. I think the Left 4 Dead has this technique, right? Like, you can launch the player with the grenade.
That's actually a really great example. Yeah, pipe bomb boosting. Yep, that's exactly what trikz is. So it's the same mechanic. You throw the grenade, and they're like inside the grenade, and the grenade like launches them. Because the grenade has collision against players when it's thrown. It's crazy. And technically, I think right now, even, you can throw a grenade into a ghost. So like, you can actually do trikz-esque stuff. It's just not synchronized. So it's like, you have to figure out your own ping to each other and like figure out the timing with that. But you, like, if you have like an overhang and you have somebody below you in a lobby right now and they throw a grenade up at you, you'll get launched. Like, it works still. It's just that, it's just not it's not synchronized, so you don't have a way to like consistently get that throw, if that makes sense. And that's why I was alluding to, like, we could like technically support it where it's like, if you're in a trikz map and then just like, have the grenade actually do that, boost or like anything like that, we could do that, but we won't officially support it.
It would also be like awful to play.
Yeah,
terrible.
Any
like
bits,
the worst Gmod lobby you've ever been in, like,
exactly.
Across the planet.
Yeah, especially if you have like a bit of distance between you and the other person playing. So, because we use Steam's peer-to-peer for networking. It's free, right? It's built into Steam, and you don't have to worry about like anything like security-wise. Like, it uses Steam relays to like communicate. So it's pretty cool, but it's also like, it's peer-to-peer. So you have to deal with any internet lag that way, as opposed to a dedicated server that you both connect to and get data from, which could be, ideally put in between you two if you want best ping or whatever. But any other input for Wavy's question? All right, thank you, Wavy. Sorry again. Every time we're asked it, I always feel bad, but it's just the way it is.
So our next question is by NotEagle, who is curious to know, would it be possible to use Counter-Strike Global Offensive skins or skins inventory in momentum?
No, sorry, I didn't clean up the question better. CSGO skins from your inventory in momentum. I mean, that's another question we can ask Valve, is like, what does it mean for skins? Because I know they ported all of the skins over to CS2. So for the most part, we could, right? We do have the ability, we have Steamworks API, we could look at your inventory for different games. I think, actually, I don't know if it might allow you to look, I'll have to look at that, but we should be able to see your inventory. And then just whether or not we can actually include, the skins with the game might be the biggest thing. But again, if they're getting rid of the source 1 assets and then not giving a source 2 to mount source 2 stuff, then we'll see where that goes. For the most part, right, it would have to be things that you have. We're not gonna just to please Valve, right? We're definitely not gonna just let you choose whatever skin. We would love to do the inventory based stuff so that you can actually represent yourself via that. However, right, you can always, and we're never going to block this, you can always customize things locally. So if you want to have a karambit or whatever, right, knife, you can always do that, right? You just have to point it to the model, right, with the skin. That's never going to change. We will always let you do that. The only caveat is it doesn't show up in replays or in the lobbies. So our cosmetic system that we're going to have that lets you kind of customize your knives and stuff like that, we'll be using more of an official setup that we use like Steam inventory to manage and all of that. So you will also have, by the way, the cosmetics in your Steam inventory. So you can, show them off on your profile on Steam. But we're going to be using the Steam inventory, and then that way we can also look at TF2, if you have TF2 installed, and then your TF2 items you'd use in there as well. I mean, the main thing to keep in mind with that is that if people don't have the game mounted or installed, but I guess in the case of CSGO we got to figure that out yet, but I guess in the case of TF2, right, if you choose something there and they don't have it installed, we'd probably default back to our skin just for that player, because they don't have it installed. But our skins, for example, the ones that we're going to be creating and having in our cosmetic store as well, will be shipped with the game, obviously. So don't have to worry about that for the really cool skins models and so on that we're going to have inside of our own store. But yeah, so I mean, we'll have to ask Valve, but ideally it should be possible if we mount the game, right, and look at your inventory. It should be possible. And then always local customization. Always be able to do it. So yes, the answer is yes, you can do it locally, but to have it in our cosmetic system, we'll have to see how to go about doing that. Was that?
Yeah, so for me personally, I don't ever want to see someone else's CSGO skin or TF2 unusuals or whatever in Momentum Mod, ever. I don't care if it's local, but personally, Momentum Mod is a free game. It's not like a free game. It is a free game. We're not selling anything, and all of the cosmetics that Momentum Mod has are going to be purely based on your own achievement and playtime and stuff like that. I really don't want to see other people's cosmetics that they paid for or gambled for in Momentum Mod. I'd rather that be quarantined to those games. I mean, if you want to do it locally, if you want to see your own knife view model or whatever, that's totally fine. But I don't think that we should subject Momentum Mod players to other people's fancy, expensive things that they can't afford. So I don't. And if we, I hope that that's the way we go. And in that case, we wouldn't really need to worry about mounting other games because it would only ever be local anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, for me personally, I'd really rather not see other games paid cosmetics in Momentum Mod. I just think it doesn't really fit with the philosophy of our game.
That's actually a really good point, because and then if they don't have it installed, you wouldn't even be able to see. So it kind of feels more of a local or my screen only kind of thing, which absolutely we could always make it that. Having it be actually in your cosmetics, that's something that I'm willing to cave a little more on, of being it more towards our cosmetics that we're creating, to make sure that we're giving value to that more, because otherwise people will just go and buy a CSGO knife and be like, oh yeah, look at this, and then people, if they were to see it, be like, how the fuck do I get that? It's not even in this game. So it takes away
about it more, the presidents us making our own content, making it unique.
The value, right? So now that I think about it more, actually the answer is no. It won't be possible to do it networked. I think we're going to just go with, you can mount it locally, and it'll when we have our cosmetic section loadout, the loadout stuff from TF2, we'll show it and be like, oh, this is local only. It'll have a little warning icon or something. It's you can have it and have it in, have it show up in game for just you. And then you don't. Yeah, and you don't have to do anything in your files, right? We would just mount it and automatically can use it locally just for you. But when it comes to the stuff in your replays and stuff, we would have the stuff that you select from our store that you would unlock. And yes, just reiterating that it is purely based off of what you do in the game. There's no money. We can't make money from the game. It's in terms with Valve. It's how we got licensed. It has to be completely free. So
it's part of the contract.
Yes. So we can't charge for skins or anything like that. It's all based off of playing the game and getting units, which is our channel point currency on Twitch as well. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, so recapping here, we just kind of went through a journey together, but it will be possible to use CSGO skins locally, either via editing the files, which we will never ever prevent you from doing, or when we have our cosmetic section, being able to just choose it, but it would only happen locally, just on your screen. So if you're streaming or whatever, you can have your knife or whatever, but yeah, in replays and in lobbies, people will see the momentum specific cosmetics, because again, we don't want to devalue momentum specific cosmetics. You can love your CSGO skins and we will let you show that off locally and like see it locally. But when it comes to our game and our community, we really want to show off more of the momentum artistry side. So hopefully that answers that. Yeah, but now you can see, again, it's not just me making this game. If it was, it'd be just me playing it. No, but it's, yeah, this is why I love having a team helping, working on this game with me. So
yeah, it's a passion-driven game. People that have a passion for something have obviously invested a lot of time, effort, attention, consideration.
Yeah.
Working with patience, we're working in a team and we're doing it in our free time. So the stuff that we do create, of course, we want it to be seen. We want it to be out there. We want other people to be utilizing it. So
yeah,
that is what he's trying to communicate. That right there should be taking precedence over other things that are already out there. So
cool.
Great question to ask. Really great question.
Thank you, NotEagle. We'll move on to the next one here.
And this is another great question, because I've been trying to answer it. I'm probably going to butcher the username, the alias here. Tazaoka,
maybe?
Tazaoka?
Or Tazaoka, maybe?
Tazaoka?
Sorry for butchering your name. Please don't leave. We'll get it right.
They want to know, aside from waiting and contributing to momentum, I'm assuming waiting as in like waiting for
the playtest.
Playtest stream.
Or 1.0, whenever happens first.
Is there any other way to get a key? Well, if you attend these team or these Q&A, try to give away Steam keys during the Q&A. I've been doing it throughout this stream in particular. But yeah, there are other ways.
Yeah, anybody...
If you are part of the Discord, you will definitely have a lot more opportunity than just coming into the team or the Q&A streams. There are definitely other ways. There's definitely events that go on. There's people that you can talk to. And you never know. You might have something to offer that you never know. You never knew you had.
So the FAQ on our Discord kind of talks about it too. So there's waiting for the playtest, which is what pretty much everybody does. There's contributing directly to momentum via our open source repositories, localization. Down the line, we're going to have map porting and like zoning and stuff. So if you're more technical in that, that'll get you a key. Then there's mapping. So if you are just a mapper in general that makes maps for momentum specific modes, right, that you can use momentum to test your maps, yeah, that's also a way to get a key. So we want to mappers are the backbone of momentum. I can't say that enough. Like that is the reason momentum's able to exist, is just all of these beautiful maps. So being able to support mappers and map testers that the mappers need, that would be one way to do it. But then also just kind of hanging out and being in the community, being helpful, being like helping people get information. We get a lot of people asking the exact same questions, and preventing us from going crazy would be a great way to get a key. Just helping people get information as well as answering questions for the team, but not acting as the team, if that makes sense. But yeah, like that kind of stuff is what we're on the lookout to. Keeping in mind, because a lot of people are very eager to get a key, keeping in mind that, reiterating here, it's a playtest, right? It's being developed. It's going to be wiped. The leaderboards are going to be wiped. The map list is about to be wiped at 0.10, and leaderboards at 0.10. There's a lot of missing features. Right now, we just pushed an update that apparently causes FPS drops. Whoops, we're working on the game. We're doing a lot of different stuff, and we need testing. It's okay to want to play it, and trust me, I'm the biggest nerd in the universe that wants to play it right now, too. That's why I'm making it. But it's right now not in a state that's like, oh yeah, like once you get access, like everything's golden, right? Like everything's perfect, because like we don't have all of the maps. Like we're not trying to add all the maps right now. We're about to do a giant refactor to them. Like replays are also getting an overhaul at 011. So like grinding for world records is like we're wiping multiple times. So like you don't want to do that. It's really just a matter of testing the game. And so mappers are doing that by making maps, right? They're playing and testing the game out. And if there's any problems with like mapping tools or things like that, we can also get features and other tickets created there. So just keeping that in mind, that like, I really love the enthusiasm that everybody has. We have 50,000 people total in the playtest like section. There's like 30,000 in the game and another 20 that have signed up. That want access. That's incredible. Like that's amazing. We haven't even like spoken to like any big names or anything about the game. It's just been word of mouth getting out. So it's incredible to see this enthusiasm around the game. And realistically, right, like we really want to have 1.0 be the most solid release, that like everything starts to count, everything's there, everything's working, there's no FPS drops randomly for because of some stuff we're doing. Like there's like that's what 1.0 is trying to be. Like if we were to open it up like floodgates, like everyone can have playtest, that's technically a release, and people get the wrong idea, and we don't want that. So that's why it's so slow. That's why keys are really selective. That's why we want you guys hanging out here in our Discord, being nice, contributing either to the game or to the community. That's really what we're looking for, because we want you to care about the game and the prospect of testing it more than just playing it and then disappearing. Because we've given a lot of keys out to people. We used to have an influencer role, for example, for like streamers and YouTubers, and every single person we gave that key to is no longer playing the game. I guarantee it. It's great because they really like it. They get into the game, they realize it's still in development and maybe are holding off and now have forgotten about it, or just straight up just wanted to get into the game and then fuck off. Like, I don't know. It's up to them. But like the main thing to keep in mind is just like, we really just want feedback right now. Like we're really like the frame drops is like that kind of stuff is what we're looking for. And we don't want to get the wrong idea sent out to everyone. So we're slowly dripping keys and dripping access until we get zone refactor done. Let's get more people in. We got a ton of maps that are going to need to be added and tested. Replay refactor, right? We got new replays that are going to have rockets and conks and everything like inside of them. We need a ton of people to test that. We'll update the amount that we're giving out per week. And eventually we're just going to hit 0.13.0, right? With like, or on our roadmap to where we have nothing really left in terms of big features other than releasing 1.0. And that will be the big hype event. It'll be really nice to just build it up. I want to, I'd love to do a little release stream, have, a big stream for actually setting the game live and like seeing and like playing with people in lobbies and stuff like that. Like, and we can't do that if we just opened it up to everybody right now, or just opened it up so widely that it's effectively the same thing, right? So yeah, I appreciate all of the enthusiasm for this game. It really helps motivate. Again, this is all motivation, passion-based development. So seeing all these numbers, seeing all these wish lists, and all these people really excited to get into the game is really awesome. So we're trying our best to get to points that we are more comfortable having more people playing the game. And once we get to 1.0, it's free for all. Everyone's able to play, and we'll have hundreds of like it'll be beautiful. 1.0 is going to be beautiful. I'm just really looking forward to it. I really want everyone to understand that, but I know it's very easy to just see it as like this game is like never coming out or whatever, because it's been in development for so long or whatever. But like we're really trying to just be more transparent about what's like going into the game and like the releases and everything like that. Doing these Q&A streams every month, right? Not missing any months. Delaying if we need to, a week if I'm moving or something. But yeah, like we're really
engaged with the community. That's what this whole project is about. That's what how all these game modes came to be. Communities building maps,
centralizing all of it.
Over time, it just created more and more influence on people, and it just stuck around because these things are freaking awesome. So
Yeah.
Again, we try our hardest to stay engaged with the community, and that's why we have these Q&As to answer questions as well as answering questions in the Discord.
And just, and then at the end showing you what the game looks like and how the progress is going visually for people that might not have access yet. So yeah,
even with donations, we're transparent about that. If we get a donation, you guys can see it all. If the donation goes towards something, you guys can see what it's going towards to. So we do our best to be as transparent as possible with everything that we can. But of course, there's certain things that we can't discuss because we're bound by contract. So that should be understandable, and that should go without saying.
Yeah. It'd be cool to be fully open, but yeah, that's a different topic. Well, Happy, you were trying to say something there. What was that?
Yeah, I guess if you really eager to get a key, the easiest way you can do is localization. We have
if you know another language,
yeah, like if you know another language, we have our PO editor. Go there, see what language needs help, and leave a comment in the PO editor account link on our Discord, and I'll get you the key. And also, we might or might not leave some keys in the video when we're gonna drop the video on the YouTube, like in the description. We do that, right?
Spoilers.
Oh. Yeah,
I was trying to hint at that earlier. If you're part of the Discord, there's little events, there's notifications that go off. So if you're engaged and you're paying attention, there's always opportunities that arrive in order to claim a key.
But just echoing what Happy's saying, the easiest way to get a key is to contribute. So we have open source repositories, we have localization, we're gonna have map porting down the line. All of this stuff is just like, if you're serious about helping Momentum, we want you to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Being able to test localization strings out, see if it's all good and all that. So looking forward to that.
Also, I believe that Crazy Al, who streams Defrag and also casts for Tim Conlan, go watch both of those. I believe he still has a standing offer for a key for anyone who can do sub 30 on Ghost Strafe 7 in Defrag. So also,
that's true.
Whiskey, I see your question, and I'll answer that in chat.
And then I did see somebody talking about donating for keys. We can't. Again, it's part of the terms that we have with Valve. We can't make money out of anything to do with the game directly. So keys, access to the game, big no-no. Things in the game being sold, integrating crypto or whatever the fuck, right? Like, we can't do that, right? We can't do any of that with the game. We can make money off of merch, off of the soundtrack, off of, external thing, donations, right? Directly to the team, just as a one-off. You don't get anything for it. Or just like supporting the team there. That kind of stuff we can make money from. But okay. Thank you, Tazaoka or Tazaoka. Thank you for this question. We'll move on to the next one.
Our next question by TehBoss they're asking, could we please have the bhop strafe indicator in the surf game mode? Yeah.
I don't see why not. We have a lot of stuff like that we want to start to enable for other modes. I think right now it's a lot of we're just assuming bunny hoppers are going to want it the most. There's even an issue.
Indicator though, it sounds kind of like a big ask.
Yeah.
We gotta implement that. Is it not already in there?
I think it's in there.
We'll
it's
see.
just not on by default.
I don't know. That's
could be a hard change.
Can we get that done in time? That's the real question here.
We'll have to plan it. That's for sure. We'll have to put it on the board.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the work, I guess I could bring this up. A lot of the work that we do is typically planned via GitHub. The GitHub issues on our game repository. So if there are features or anything like that, that's the best place to put it, because that, even if it gets closed, or we just say no and close it or whatever, like that's the worst that'll happen, right? It's just like, it's not planned, like we just close it. But like having it there is just the best way to potentially have something in the game. And I mean, we do use Discord as well. We have the feedback channel there, and that helps us kind of also create cards. But yeah, the best way to get work in the front of devs is to make an issue. And again, this is game related, please don't ask for keys via GitHub issues. That just annoys the shit out of us. So yeah, just like game related stuff, like feature requests or bugs and things like that. That's what our GitHub is really open for. So, but yeah, I don't see why not. It's just a matter of like having the UX properly do that. So I think it's just disabled right now. So we just have to add like the game mode or wherever that disabling happens, add the check for surf. It might not be on by default. Or we might do, I mean, we have a lot of HUD cleanup coming. We have the HUD customizer coming out where like you can drag, I showed that off in a previous Q&A, where you can drag and like place all of the elements. We'll be having a lot of customization for the HUD. Diabolical, an example, it was a really awesome HUD editor that we're taking a lot of inspiration from. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do still, but we're getting there. That'll probably include things like allowing you to toggle on the related like the strafe indicator and stuff like that on other modes that might have a little bit of strafing too. But yeah, like bhop strafe indicator on rocket jump doesn't make sense. So there's ones that like it wouldn't help anything, right? So we'll just straight up disable it. But with panorama being open and customizable, you could always re-enable it if you wanted to. I don't know, but yeah, for strafe indicator and surf, yeah, absolutely, we could look into doing that. Any other input for TehBoss's question? Cool. All right, thank you, TehBoss. We'll move on to the next.
We're gonna have to figure this one out because we got a couple more questions by Tazaoka.
Yeah.
So
we'll just change the pronunciation each time.
Sorry if I'm butchering your username. They want to know, will there be a weapon like the original in Momentum mod? The original, is that
a rocket launcher?
It's the rocket launcher.
Wait.
It's
okay.
It's actually the default behavior of a rocket is the same as the original in TF2, but we don't have like a model that represents it, right? Or we do.
We do.
Yeah.
Yep, that was added. Oh, it was added a bit ago. But yeah, I was gonna say bad news. It's the default. So there is a weapon that is effectively the original, just with our own beautiful model by False, and animations, I believe, by no, I think False actually might have animated that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. Yeah, we do. So the original, and then we have stock firing angles, and we have the proper view model offset for that. And then we also have Cow Mangler, the Cow Mangler firing angle. Another example of me being in the wrong was that. I was against having it because it's just like kind of dumb, but then, it's something that you set before you go, and it's literally just one vector that you add, so... yeah, I was like, okay, fine, we can do it, and we added it, and it's been pretty good. So Cow Mangler, angles, stock angle, and then we call it hybrid, but because it's between original, it's like the Cow Mangler is like a little bit between stock and original in terms of distance, but yeah, those are the three. I don't think we're gonna add any. You have left and right hand mode, I guess, so you can do it from the left side of your screen if you want. But we actually have another question coming up. I remember. So yeah, good news. it's the default.
Wait, does Cow Mangler has different vector than like stock rocket launcher or something?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Jesus.
Yep, slightly in between. Yeah, it's like a hybrid. It's between the two.
All right.
So if your Cow Mangler rockets have been off, that might be why. No, no, it's just for rocket jump. It's different because if you're up against a wall, right? Like where the rocket comes out of is where, like, determining where you're gonna need to aim along the wall. So we have the original because it's the most consistent. It's literally out of the center of your screen, so you have the most balanced approach on any wall. But not a lot of people like that, so we kept the other angles in as well. That was the other choice too. It was like we could also just get rid of every other firing angle, but no, we're keeping the other ones in. You can choose the one you want, the one that you're used to, and then we just store that in the replay, so we render it correctly. Yeah, and validate it correctly. But yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh,
I was just gonna say the other thing is that I don't think that we support the view models for the original or the Cow Mangler right now.
We'll fix that.
Yeah, we're working on fixing that. We technically don't support the stock view model either. We support the old one that TF2 doesn't use anymore. But
yeah,
the plan is to also have support for the actual original view models. So as long as you have TF2 installed, or at least have those models available, you could take them out of TF2.
Yep.
You will be able to use those in game instead of the momentum mod ones.
Yep, just like the CSGO question that we just answered. Yep, you can use the TF2 models in the game. We, again, might not make it visible in replays and stuff like that. It'll be a local only thing. So we'll see. But yeah, absolutely. It was a good point there. The view models, we'll update them. Yeah. Right now, we just have the momentum ones. But all right. Thank you, Tazaoka. Tazaoka. Again, sorry for butchering the name.
Tazaoka.
They said in chat the name is Tazaoka or Tazaoka.
Tazaoka. Sorry for butchering your name. Seriously, like we're not really good at this. No, but thank you for the question. We'll move on to the next one here.
Our next question by Resistance. They want to know, has mmod done anything with the explicit intent of optimization, and what exactly it is about the game that makes it run so much better than anything else on the source engine?
The big one is DX11.
Yeah.
This is a pretty packed question here.
It's pretty well timed. It's pretty well timed as well, because it's we have like an FPS issue right now. But yeah, no, I'll let you guys talk about if you want to, Lumia, if you want to talk about some, but I could also go over it too.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Max said, DX11. So pretty much every other source engine game except, I don't know, maybe CSGO and Portal 2. I think they did some stuff with those recently, but pretty much all the other ones are built on DX9, which is DirectX version 9. And it's like, that came out like 15 years ago. So it's designed for graphics cards and
Even
graphics
longer.
drivers of 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, it's like 2004. Like 2004
Yeah.
or 5, yeah. 20 years ago.
Yeah. So it's not optimized for modern hardware. So the driver can't do as good of a job and stuff with it. And we also don't get super advanced features. So we upgraded from DX9 to DX11, which is the latest version that's reasonable for us to use. DX12 exists, but that's an entirely separate thing. Don't worry about DX12.
Yeah.
So that basically means we can make much better use of modern GPUs. If you have anything made in like the last decade, DX11 is probably going to be better for it than DX9. But I mean, there's just been tons of other stuff too that we've done on the engine. There's so much like dead code and code that's not very well optimized because Valve was in a hurry, or it just works, and so they never really looked at it again. Aussie, especially SL, Slidebat, they've all worked on tons of optimizations and fixes. We load BSPs faster. We
start up the game faster.
Yeah, we start up the game faster. We switched from 32-bit to 64-bit, which means we have less memory issues.
Or more access to more memory, yeah.
Right, yeah, yeah. But, I mean, yeah, we've been continuously improving the engine, like constantly. Like you can't see it because it's all internal, but literally every single day there's something new going on where we're fixing something or improving or adding features. It's a testament to how big the source engine is that there's just constant work on it. But
there's even more shit to remove too, like that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we're focusing on also like getting better profiling tools and better in-game developer UI and stuff like that. So I don't think it's a single thing that we've done to make it run better, but more like the cumulative effort of just revamping everything. Has more been removed or added? Oh man. We've torn out a lot of stuff, but I don't know that it's so much removing as much as it is rewriting and refactoring.
Yep.
I don't think it's really shrunk or grown as much as been redone.
It's shrunk overall, but it's, yeah, when you look at changes, there's a lot of like moving things around into their own files, because holy shit, so much is in, for example, like loading models. There's a class for, I'm not going to talk too much about the actual code, but like there's a lot of code in one file that does all different kinds of shit that should not be in one file. It should be in its own domain, call, you know, like much cleaner that way, but it's still that same amount of code. We just moved it over, maybe optimized it a little bit. So that's why I say there's like, overall, there's a little bit, like, there's probably more removal. It's more on the removal side than added. I also want to note a couple of things. One, Rio did a lot of optimization work with movement, specifically movement and mouse movement. So we actually have raw input 2, which interpolates your mouse on the tick barrier as opposed to frame barrier. So it's way more consistent, assuming that you don't have a frame rate that's a multiple of tick rate. So you have the same gains regardless of frame rate. You can I think run at 30 FPS. Like that's, yeah. So with raw input 2, please don't run at 30 FPS. That's terrible. You will hate it, but you can. So lower end hardware is able to take advantage, or lower end, I guess, spec hardware can at least compete competitively there. And then in terms of movement and stuff, right? Just optimizing things like the traces around, you know, fixing ramp bugs and wall bugs and things like that, just making sure that there's optimization on the smoothness of how surfing or grinding against a wall feels, right? And then I wanted to talk a bit about there are so many dependencies like external libraries and stuff that the source engine uses that are so old. Like even Panorama, right? Panorama uses V8, which is a JavaScript engine, and that was like heavily out of date for a while. So things like that, just updating dependencies and having our dependency chain just way more streamlined to where we have, you know, if things can be an open source library without, you know, any NDA changes, we can open source it and then update from the source repo to pull in the latest version and things like that. So having up-to-date dependencies is a huge bit of that. You know, just removing all of the old cruft and just unused dependencies and things like that, that just, it optimizes compile times and makes it easier for us to, you know, not have to wait fucking 20 minutes to play the game. But yeah, like it's just, there's a lot of great work that's going on in every aspect of the engine. We're really close and I'm really excited. I kind of want to keep it secret, but no, we've talked about it. Yeah, I think I even talked about it in the stream, to having containerized BSPs, right? To where it's like you can load maps like in another thread or just like have it in memory somewhere now, and just like we're getting so close to just having it like not rely on globals, which, you know, the engine for the longest time is just like, oh, there's only ever one map running, so let's just put everything in these static areas of memory and like never allow you to load any other map while you're in one. And it's like so dated and dumb, and so we're doing a lot of cleanup there too. So a lot of optimization around how the code is laid out, a lot of optimization around just updating us to latest binaries, including latest libraries, including things like DX11 and just all of our dependencies, and then just a lot of optimizations around, we know this is a, you know, shit performing code. We can put a profiler on it, look at what exactly is being called. We've done a lot of optimization that way, just in function time reduction of just like, oh yeah, the game was loading every single VCD object on load. Let's not do that. Or, you know, on startup. Stuff like that, where it's like, this shit is usually used in maps that have cutscenes. It's like, okay, Momentum doesn't really have that. So it's just stuff like that. We're able to, with full engine access, we're able to identify just key areas that were written in 2004 or even earlier and optimize it to use more modern standards as well. So you get cleaner code, you get faster code out of that, and yeah, you guys get the benefit of that. Sorry again about the recent release causing FPS issues. Turn off multi-core rendering. We'll fix that. It's, you know, it's all part of the deal. We're trying to do more regular releases to suss out things like that when that happens. So sorry about that, but we'll get back on top of that. But that's why it's funny, because it's, yeah, we just push that update and then we get this question of like, oh, why is it so much better? It's like 10 minutes on a map drops me to 30 FPS. Anyway, but yeah.
I also want to say that all this optimization stuff a lot of times is a bit of a double-edged sword, because part of what's able to make the game faster is that we're using newer features of CPUs and GPUs and newer libraries, newer operating system features. So basically, we're making the game run better on modern computers, but unfortunately, some of the changes that we're doing might actually make the game run worse or not at all on much older computers.
Yeah.
It's still a source game, right? Like you don't need a, RTX card or whatever. It's still going to run on pretty much anything of the last decade.
Yes.
But, there are some people running stuff that's even older than that. And unfortunately, like the game is going to be a bit heavier and require a little bit newer hardware than like CSS or something. And that's kind of just the trade-off that we're making. Like we want the game to perform really well on newer hardware. And sometimes making use of those new features means that we kind of cut out really old stuff. And as much as I'd like to tell people, just go out and upgrade, we do know that not everybody can do that. But it's kind of just like the compromise we have to make. We either let the game code be old and not very fast but run on everything, or we make it run better but maybe sacrifice, I don't know, Windows 7 compatibility or something or something like that. But it's also kind of future looking, right? Because stuff that's 5 years old today is going to be 15 years old in 10 years. And Momentum Mod is not going to be like a game that exists for a single season then disappears. But I think people are going to be playing this game for at least another decade. I mean, people are still playing Quake 3 Defrag, and it's been over 20 years. So all of this stuff is not just making the game better, but it's also making the game more future-proof by building it to more standards that are more modern today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, too, with, like, older hardware or just less spec'd hardware is we can always, like a Chromebook or something, like, we just need to get access to that to be able to test how well it runs on that, right? Like, the main thing is just, like, like, I have a 2080 Ti, like, a 12-core processor and stuff like that. Not to flex, but to say that, like, as a developer, I'm not seeing the sweat of, the game's running really well for me, but, like, for somebody on 5 to 6 or 7 year old hardware, not going to be as good. But I mean, it's a deliberate trade-off, and we even saw that with Steam. Steam recently just called it quits for Windows 7. They held out for the longest time, but you gotta update, right? Like you can't be on Chromium that is outdated forever, right? And it sucks because you either keep your code really old and unmaintainable in that case. It's just like from a developer standpoint, it's much better to be on more modern things. And we aren't going to be doing any crazy RTX things. But like at the same time, it's like, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how like low spec, once we get, more and more optimized, how low spec it can go. Like what's the lowest end graphics card that we can run on and like actually enjoy like 60 FPS game, even though that's for Source pretty bad. Like just see what it takes to optimize it to do that. But we're hoping that a lot of people are on last decade to like 15-ish years of hardware, and even then at that lower end, in general, using a computer is probably not very fun because a lot of software, right? It's not just Momentum, right? A lot of software nowadays is just they're keeping up with the latest, and you can't always stick on old. You have to be able to update sometime. And I'm not a fan of the Apple like throw everything away every year kind of thing. But I definitely see the value in like, DX11 is letting us get into each frame that's being rendered and debug it like way easier than DX9 ever let us. Like that kind of stuff is so valuable for our game that it's worth that trade of like we can't support your Dell Inspiron 7000 from 2009, right? Like we can't, like, there's only so much we can do. So we're doing our best to obviously make a very smooth game, and like people are obviously enjoying it and taking advantage of it. But we really want to make sure that we're nailing, like the compatibility that makes sense. We're not latest and greatest. You don't need a 40 series card to run it. If you have one, that's amazing. You probably upscale the game or something. But like, I'm excited to see where even further optimization goes, because like we're doing a lot of cleanup right now of just old cruft, and obviously we're going to run out of old things to do, right? So then the optimization starts to split into, okay, the existing pipeline, for example, one of the things we just pushed was a compute shader. We added compute shader support. And that might actually be why there's FPS drops. Sorry about that. But like, hey, we're getting better with this kind of stuff. We might have just implemented it. I mean, yeah, obviously, if it is that, it's probably just something with that. We'll clean it up. Don't worry about it. But that kind of stuff allows us to take a look at like existing processes that are taking a lot of time during rendering a frame and move it towards something that's new, like a compute shader that runs only on DX11, right? But it works really well and causes frame times to go down, and that's even more FPS, even though, we already hit like 300 for a lot of people. So like things like that though is like the next step of optimization. And then we just look at like the workflows of like what the engine's being used for. So like for us, right, containerized BSPs, being able to just seamlessly go in between BSPs because it's all in memory, and then you just apply, right? That allows, we could do multiple maps, right? Like, or things like, so it's big brain stuff down the line. But like the main thing to keep in mind is just all of this optimization goes towards a much more enjoyable game. And the more modern hardware that you have, the better it's going to run, obviously. But I mean, that's a no duh, because modern hardware is insane compared to like even just 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm excited to see like where even further optimization is going to go. But we're obviously going to hit a point where like there's not too much more optimization to do other than just having best practices in place. So making sure that we're doing static analysis on our code to make sure we're not introducing anything that like an AI would tell us that is slow or something, right? Like stuff like that down the line. So we'll see. Actually, I don't think we can legally feed an AI source code. So never mind. I never said that. We actually do not use AI assisted tooling. I just clarifying that here. But like, we'll see like where coding is even going. For our website, we could use AI though. Website could be optimized, rewritten in Rust. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, hopefully that answers that resistance. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question here. Yeah.
Our next question by Mr. Tazaoka wants to know, is there a central firing angle for the sticky bomb launcher, or will there be one implemented?
No.
Nope.
Thank you for the question.
It's not actually as useful as you'd think. It just kind of makes warpo going on both sides really bad, whereas currently one wall's really easy to warpo go on and the other's kind of bad to warpo go on. But yeah, moving it to center just makes it all round really awkward, and it's just not really worth the trade-off.
Yeah.
Plus the view model would probably look really funky in the middle, so
Yeah. So I can't even add to that. That's you nailed it.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So thank you for this question. We'll move on to the next.
Next question is by someone who's been in this stream, seen their name pop up a couple times. Porkie wants to know, will there be any kind of permanent or static lobby feature? And I think you were hinting at this earlier. I looked down like, that's what he meant.
Yep. Yes. Thank you for the question. No, I'm just kidding. Yes. So as I was talking about before, I kind of hinted at it. So the levels, right, of multiplayer that we want to have is, right now we have play by yourself, right? No lobby, whatever, no multiplayer. All good. Always going to be there. And then individual peer-to-peer lobby, which is, you can host. You don't have to port forward anything. It all uses Steam. You just literally invite, or you set it public and people can just join it from the lobby browser. Those lobbies are there. Those lobbies, however, they disappear when everyone exits the lobby. So you can create a lobby and leave it, but the people in it are going to stay in it. There's no kicking in lobbies. I don't know why Valve doesn't have that. Steam devs, if you're watching, please add a kick functionality so the leader can kick people. But anyway, so there's those. And then what we're going to be adding is something called, actually, let me talk about roaming lobbies. So that the concept of those lobbies, of the ones that you can host, the next step up is roaming lobbies. So if you don't really have friends to invite or don't really want to set it public or whatever, usually those lobbies, right, like we'll be using the host's map to like show what they're on, but like anyone from any map can join. And so it's just kind of like, this like hangout place that you can just host. You can even link them in Discord with Discord RPC, you know, enabled. You can invite people to your lobby, or invite an entire channel to your lobby, and that's really helpful for like testing and stuff. And then the next step that we would want to do is something called roaming lobbies. So this will be, this is actually, I think there's a branch for it. Slidey already started a branch for it, but I think there was some work that needed to be done with UX to enable this. So we'll probably be getting this sooner than 11 or 12 is when I think it was planned. So roaming lobbies are this idea of like kind of the server experience that you're used to where if you're not in a lobby already, and you are opted into this, right? Like, or didn't opt out, we'll see what the default will be. When you go and play a map, what it'll do is it'll search for public lobbies that are a specific type of public lobby on that specific map. And it's called a roaming lobby because you kind of roam around in the game, right? And go between different lobbies based on the map because it's a lobby only for that map. So the idea is you would host effectively what is like a lobby, a public lobby like normal, but it's automatically done. It searches for them first, but like if there isn't one, it'll host one. And the idea is anyone that goes on that map that also is opted into this roaming lobby would join your lobby. So like it's effectively like a public server-esque kind of experience, but it's not going to replace the public server. I'm getting to it. That's not the answer to this question, but we will have that. So it's kind of like this intermediate of like, I don't really want to join like this big lobby, and I also don't want to like host a private one. I don't really, or whatever. Like it's just kind of this like, oh, I'm gonna play a map, and if there's other people on it I can chat to, cool. You know, that's just kind of what it is. It's just kind of more of a social feature there. But then the next step up from that is the kind of permanent or like, yeah, a static kind of lobby. I think we were calling them dedicated lobbies. And these are the ones that you can throw on a Linux box. And, you know, you have like, I think there's like the Steamworks API for like game servers that we're going to be using for that. So you just get like, I think it's a Steam ID. I don't actually know how that works. I haven't set one up, so I have to figure out how that works. But yeah, you host it. You can host it on your computer. You can throw it onto a Linux box in between, you know, at a hub. City or something like that, and you would be able to host this, and this would be a permanent lobby. So as long as that box or whatever that program, right, that we write, the dedicated lobby, is running, it will always be up. We'll have more controls around like password protecting and stuff like that for this, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this is ideally going to be the backbone for the clans feature, right? So the clans feature that we want to have is just, yeah, like community clan stuff. And it's more of like, it's done through our website, but like obviously clans are going to be bigger than just like a public lobby, and we'll likely want to have a server that maybe has a map rotation or anything like that. Like we can actually start to introduce the features from public servers that you're used to into the like dedicated server stuff or dedicated lobby stuff. So yeah, that's the plan there, is that we do want to have this kind of like dedicated server, basically almost one-to-one. We can have things like hooking into when players are submitting runs, so you can like get a callback on when they get a run, so if they get a world record, or you can have like a dedicated lobby specific leaderboard. You know, we can do things like that. We can have it be a little more extensible, but keeping in mind that it's still going to follow that zero ping architecture. So you connect to the server, but again, your movement it's not dictating your movement. It's just networking the other players that are in the server with you. So it'll handle that for you. Whereas right now the lobbies and the lobby system is actually, it's peer-to-peer. So it's kind of running, yeah, it's locally and then on everyone's machine. So, yeah, like it's really exciting. There's really just like a nice spectrum of like multiplayer level levels that you could get involved with. And so I'm excited because, yeah, that's like, I think that'll ease a lot of people's doubts around whether or not Momentum could be like this like good replacement or whatever for their community. It offers a nice landing pad. I mean, you don't technically, right, a community doesn't need to move or like completely like abandon their old game or anything. They could coexist on both, right? Like KSF or whatever can exist on both. Like that's completely fine. So I'm really excited for that, because that will, that starts to open up the door to like, what could clans do? And like, could you have like clan wars where like one clan could invade another clan's server and like set times on their leaderboards and stuff? Like there's a bunch of stuff like that. Or there's like, territory where it's like, you look at like your members in your clan, and like if you have a bunch of members that have times on your maps, you have to like defend it from another clan or something, and just get better times or more rank points or something. Like we can do a lot of really cool, just kind of like social events like that around clans, and then obviously tournaments and stuff like that, right? We can use these lobbies to kind of help set up like the 1v1 kind of stuff, if you want to do that. So just really, really exciting stuff down the line for the community pipeline. But yeah, and that it absolutely involves permanent or like a static lobby system for that. But right now, right, we're stepping towards it with the roaming lobbies, and that'll be coming out as soon as we get, I guess, a UX mockup for like the settings that we need. I think that's the settings, and then the lobby drawer menu needs to be updated to like show that you're in a roaming lobby as opposed to a normal lobby, if that makes sense. So just some minor UX stuff, but then once we get that in, we'll push that out and see how that works. Hopefully a lot of people enjoy it and don't abuse it, but it's always going to be opt out. Like you can always opt out of it. We always want you get to play the game how you want to, except for cheating. Don't cheat. But like when it comes to like multiplayer stuff, right, you get to choose the level of multiplayer that you want to be in, right? So it's always going to be at the core of the game. You aren't thrusted into a static lobby in order to play the game, which then dictates your movement by ping or anything. So yeah, I'm really excited for adding this. So it's down the line. It's past roaming lobbies. So roaming lobbies are first, and then static lobbies, and then clans, and then the related features for like the social aspect of like a clan in a static lobby and like things that we could do there. That was a lot of talking, sorry. But was there any input for Porkie's question here?
I think Ninja just brought up in chat, we can have a lot more players than your standard server. Or at least we think we can. We support like over 250 players. It's close to 256.
Yeah, it's 250.
We haven't tested that though. But in theory, it's going to be really fun figuring out how to deal with like chat messages in a lobby full of 250 people. But yeah, in theory, we can do that.
Slow mode by default or something based on player count. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it's going to be...
That's a Steam limit as well, isn't it? Like that's not an hour limit. So if we were to come up with like a static host for like a static momentum lobby, we could potentially even up that depending on what reasonable performance is.
Yep. Yeah. If we do some benchmarking, because it's the same kind of multiplayer trope of like you're submitting where you are, the server kind of collects all of it and then sends snapshots back to you. And that's usually where the synchronization and like ping stuff would happen. But in our case, it would literally just be like, oh, it's collecting everyone's position, and then once it has like a snapshot to send you, it does. There's battle royale games and stuff that have this solved and have multiple hundred of people, but like there's a lot of data that goes into that. Whereas with us, it is literally like position and like velocity, like stuff. And you could do a lot of simulation on your local computer, right? Like if you have a beefier computer. And then we could also look at like, oh, if like somebody's lagging behind or something, we can kind of like maybe not show them just so it doesn't look bad, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like there's also things that like, oh, you could hide players until you spec them or something. So it's like you don't actually get the bandwidth of that. Like you only get it when you want to spec somebody in particular. So there's like a lot of features like that we could do on top of, because again, like it's like you have more customization over a multiplayer server because you don't have to be synchronized, right? Like, so you don't have to get everyone's position all the time. Otherwise, everything's going to fall apart. It's like, we could just kind of dynamically opt you in to getting like info, or like maybe you have specific people you want to spec and like you always get their position and stuff like that. It'd be really cool to look. I think the next level past that is going to be a source TV system to where you could have, you're just broadcasting your gameplay and like potentially like thousands of people could watch you, right? So you send it to a node and then that node replicates it over. I think CSGO has a system like that for their official games and stuff. So like it would be cool. It would be cool to see like how far we can go with like again, levels of multiplayer where there's like it's just you. You could always stream at any time for any of these steps, but like all the way down to like you're a celebrity and you get to use a source TV and people could just like pop in and spec on you and chat with you if you want to allow that. So tons of really great stuff down the line. But yeah, join Brace Clan. But yeah, it'll be really cool. Okay, nice. Any other input for Porkie's question? Cool. Thank you, Porkie. We'll move on to the next question here. I think this is our last one. No, it's not. Okay, sorry.
Getting there. We have a question by Q. They want to know, with the changes to how rngfix works that were made ages ago, are there going to be run tags which allow players to re-enable the old rngfix logic?
No. So
straight up, no, not happening. Sorry.
Nope. Yeah. So just emphasizing this, this is akin to like the centered sticky bomb stuff. There's no, it actually isn't akin to that. Sorry. It's akin to trikz maybe. Anyway, with momentum, right? We are effectively a fresh slate. It's a delicate balance that we have to do in order to have a game that feels good and like what you're used to, but also is better in terms of reliability and just movement logic, right? So no ramp bugs, no wall bugs, things like that. But when it comes to like things like rngfix, right? The way that rngfix, and I wish Rio was here to talk about this because I think that this is their stance. I don't want to speak for them though, so if there is any correction there, we could probably put it in the description or anything. But I believe the thing is the old rngfix is just inaccurate. Like it does things that it shouldn't effectively. And what happened is that was pushed and a lot of people got used to that. And then Rio actually fixed it properly. And the one that we have now is like the proper rngfix, like as it should be, with consistent logic everywhere. And now the old one, which gives way too much speed in some instances and things like that, people are used to. And that's what this question is asking about, is that old one where it kind of gives more speed in some instances, and it's not a proper implementation of. So the answer is no, because first of all, we are a fresh slate. Well, actually, first of all, Rio said that, like Rio's the creator of this fix, like rngfix. So yeah, I mean, if they're not happy with that old one, absolutely not, right? So second of all, we are a fresh slate. The way that we should be, or that everyone should really be viewing momentum in relation to existing times and servers is that it's incomparable. We have similar game feel, but we are going to launch 1.0 with a completely fresh slate. Existing times, existing, everything doesn't really come over. Your muscle memory will be able to come over in some aspects, because again, you don't have like the game, and we're already having some of that. I think prior Q&As we talked about, there are people that feel that momentum is just insanely easier, but it's just game feel, right? It's just how the game feels. Like we have one-to-one the same movement with these rngfix and other fixes on top, but it's like the game itself is just running well, and just optimized well to where it feels great to play, and so we want people to get used to that, right? Like we don't want there to be a crutch to where you re-enable an old buggy implementation of anything. So we're not adding toggles for wall bugs. We're not adding toggles for ramp bugs. I don't think anybody would want that anyway, but regardless, right? Like we don't want to add toggles or run flags or anything for that, because we want the logic or the movement logic to be consistent. Like when you go into surf, right? The same exact movement, every single map, right? Like that you can do. Obviously the map is going to be what changes here with how you're moving, right? But yeah, I can understand where bhoppers or other people, or I guess surfers have it too, where they come from, where these older, buggier implementations might just be how they're used to it. But we even have this, I think, with net fake lag. A lot of jumpers really want to have like this way to like lag the game to be used to ping, because that they're used to 30 to 80 or whatever milliseconds of ping, right? But our game, it's 0. It's the rocket that you see and shoot is what you're going to get, right? You don't have I guess like a little bit of leniency with lag or prediction or anything like that. You have what you're shooting is what you're doing. And what's happening out of that is that people that are getting used to it love it, right? Like it's so great because it's like, you don't have to worry about it. Like you know exactly what you're going to get out of the behavior, right? And that's what we want. It is unfortunate for the people that are using momentum to practice for TF2, like rocket jump, or like TF2 like soldier stuff. Sorry. However, that's not really what momentum was aiming to be in the first place. It was aiming to be more of a speedrunning platform, so that you're not really doing that. I know there are rollouts and stuff, and those are really cool to watch, but like, I guess you got to do that offline in TF2. I'm sorry, but you know, you can net fake lag in there, and like that, I guess is equivalent. But yeah, I definitely don't want there to be just like these weird, chaotic, like backdoor, like, or you know, like little caveat or caves. Sorry, I forget the word to use here. Where we cater to just like, oh, you know, this old logic that was used on a couple servers. Like, yeah, I know that having a run tag or a run flag or anything here for it would help kind of separate it, but it's just like, we wouldn't want people to get used to that, because again, it's like, when we're trying to get the consistent movement in the game, we want it to be the base, like we want that to be what you're used to. It just seems weird that you would want to have like a mode or two have like a specific toggle that completely changes like how a core fix or thing like that works. So that's why we're just really opposed to it, because it's just like, it is tough love in a way of like, you know, you might be used to it, but it's something else that you're gonna have to get used to. And we believe firmly that when you get used to it, you're gonna like it a lot more. I mean, in some cases, there are old like rngfix stuff that was beneficial because it was just done, you know, poorly or wrong, right? To where it was giving you too much speed and you enjoyed that extra speed boost or something, right? Like it would make, I could see that argument of like, yeah, it makes me feel like a better player. Now I'm just roasting. Sorry, I'm not trying to like roast anyone. I can definitely empathize of where it comes from, but with what momentum's trying to do, it's just, we really want to set a baseline that people can get used to, and just, I guess, sort of tweak muscle memory to get used to, because we just want that consistency. It's super important for momentum to have consistent movement. So that's why we don't want toggles.
Another aspect to this is they mentioned specifically like a run flag, and this is something we've been talking about a lot recently with the zoning refactor.
Yeah.
But like, to me, right at the moment, run flag implies like the existence of a leaderboard, right? We don't want to have a trillion leaderboards for every possible like different combination of minor settings, right?
Yes.
Like, we want to have leaderboards for a lot of things, but not everything. And I think that this is one of those things where it's kind of just scope creep. Like, could we do it? In theory, yeah. Should we spend the time doing it and setting it up? Probably not.
Yeah. And
yeah, run flags should definitely be reserved for things that are like the type of things that are actually being run on separate servers right now. Like, there are different communities depending on these settings.
Yeah.
Whereas something like a slightly different implementation of rngfix, like, we don't need to be making separate leaderboards for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's just because it would fragment your competitive community, and we really don't want to do that either. We don't want to have like, oh, are you an old rngfix god or a new one? Like, it's so dumb. In retrospect, it's good to have just like a consistent, like, you know, a consistent leaderboard that's like the same core movement, and then the run flags would be just modifiers on top of like how you're doing it and how you're executing it. Is it a task segmented? You know, are you doing half sideways, backwards, things like that? Like, that is where we can draw the line with like run tags. But yeah, we're doing a lot of discussion around run tags and stuff like that, run flags or tags, that are going to dictate what leaderboards count, what will even have leaderboards, and then, you know, like, should things be ranked and stuff like that. Like, we're doing a lot of great discussion around that. So we're aiming to publish all of this, by the way. Like, we do want to actually get it in the face of the community. We don't want to just silently put it in and just like hope you guys figure it out, obviously. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Was there any other input? All right, thank you, Q, for that question. Yeah, moving on to the next.
Our next question is a pretty interesting question. I like it. It's got a nice angle to it. Beninho is curious about there being any opportunities for the non-licensed developers to work on Momentum after the 1.0 release.
So I'm not sure exactly where this question was going in terms of like the game code or not, because there's always opportunities for non-licensed devs to work on Momentum. We have a ton of open source repos. I always got to plug that because it's awesome to see just people helping out either small or large ways. You know, being able to join onto the team if you're really dedicated and like really like what we're doing. So when it comes to game code, it's up to Valve. If we can potentially, like, again, we want to open source as much as we possibly can, as much as we legally can. With, it gets a little complicated with TF2 still being on source 1, but, if it is possible for us to open source Strata, we will absolutely do it. Absolutely. I would love to have Strata be open source. I think it would be just amazing. But it's up to Valve. We would need to make a case for it. We would need to be able to show not only that we've replaced all of like libraries that would be problematic to open source, cough, cough, havoc, cough, cough. But there's also, just like in terms of like, we would have to get permission from Valve. It's Valve's code, right? That we'd be opening effectively. As much as we are rewriting and reshuffling code around and things like that, there is a point of Ship of Theseus, right? Where it's like fucking, or it's, no longer the same code anymore because we rewrote it to be better. But like, we're going to run out of that at any point. And there's some code that is just fine as it is, it's clean and whatever, but, to Valve's credit. So yeah, but we'll see. I would love to have more things open source. So just keep an eye out for that, because once we get more and more contact around some of the things we're doing, like there's some stuff in the works of trying to open source that we're actually pretty keen on bringing up to Valve soon. Not the entire engine, maybe parts of it though. So we'll see. Because if we can do, because like thinking about like how the SDK works, right? If we could do an SDK style thing for one of the components. I know I'm being really cryptic. I just don't want to spoil it. Because if it actually works, then it'll be huge. Like if it actually goes through. So yeah, we'll see. But there are things in Strata that if we're making our own tools, they're ideally open source by default. Unless it is so embedded into the engine that we can't. Like things like vtex 2, for example. It's over on our Strata repo. You can go check it out. That's going to be replacing vtex. So there's things like that we're going to be, open sourcing when we can. And then there's existing things that we're going to be trying to present to Valve to be able to open. And I think, if we get it in the right, put it in front of the right people, it's more likely than not. So.
I also want to add that 1.0 is not going to be the end of development. That's just the beginning of the public release.
Yes.
So after 1.0, we're still going to be working on the game. After 1.0 is when we're going to be doing things like parkour and climb.
Yep.
And then after that, campaign is planned for 2.0. So there will still be development work going on after 1.0, but 1.0 is going to be everything that's in it will be solid and ready to play, basically. Like that will be the official release. It's not going to be like buggy and in alpha and having FPS drops every new update.
Yeah, Yeah, very good point there. I focus more on the game because that's what I saw non-licensed devs, and I assumed that's game code is what you were talking about. So we'll see. It's up to Valve if we can open more like license related code, but for non, like, I mean, we have all of our repos, we have all of our tools that we can open source, we have the campaign, we have like not even non-dev related stuff that you could work on with us, with art, we have, you know, animation, all the, like, we'd love to get the community involved with the cosmetic system and get really just funny cosmetics and stuff that would be fun to grind for, designed and then into the game with proper credit directly on the fucking like item and stuff. So yeah, it'd be really, really cool to really expand out and have a lot more community involvement with just different aspects of momentum after 1.0. Even before 1.0, there's still a lot that people can help out with. But yeah, good point. Any other input for Ben's question here? All right, thank you for that question. We'll move on to the next.
Our next question is actually our second to last question, and it is by Chris, who wants to know, will there be updates to the website to include better search filtering on maps?
No, I'm just kidding. This is all you. This search is all you get. It's fucking. So just a fun fact: the website, the front end for the website was my senior capstone project for university. We had a semester to make it. That's why it looks the way it does, and I'm not ever going to shame or whatever the like previous devs. They did amazing work for the time frame that they had. So the reason it's jank or whatever and not fleshed out is because of that. And then combined with the website dev or web dev curse of just every web dev we brought on to work on web has disappeared. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird curse that happens. So I'm hoping Tom's all right, actually. But yeah, no, Tom's okay. I believe. So yeah, it's fun. But yes, the answer is yes. There's going to be a complete redesign of the dashboard to be way better with the information that we're showing. Like right now, the like main dashboard shows like map upload stuff for like people that can't even upload maps yet. There's a lot of stuff in there that, and it's fully open source, by the way. So if there is like designs and stuff that you have in mind, it'd be great to just get, you know, communication around that and get up issues and actually implementing the work there. But the front end is being modernized. We're still updating to the latest stuff, just getting the 0.10.0 readiness, which is just updating everything to Nest.js and latest Angular and stuff like that. So we're getting that underway. And then after 0.10.0, we're going to start to improve the map upload workflow. We're going to start to improve the leaderboards on the site. Again, it's meant to be an extension of the game, right? So, you know, if you're not in game, you're at least able to go on the site and check out stuff. Like you can add maps to download when you boot the game next. You can check out runs, maybe even download runs to check out when you open up the game. We can do stuff like that, and it's really, really cool, but it does need a lot of help and work because it's a lot of work. I'm amazed that we got it to where it was in just a semester. But now, yeah, it needs to be needs to be improved. Yeah. So, just answering a quick question, do you have to own the other games to play said maps? It depends. So something that I'd love to have a blog post on is how Momentum handles mounting and assets, because yeah, it's a doozy. There's a wide range of what you need to have on your computer in order to be able to play maps. There's some maps that will straight up just crash or whatever, right, when you load it without mounting. And then there's like things that we can do to maybe get around having to mount specific things. And we actually have that in one of the change logs. I think if somebody wants to try to find it while we're finishing up here with the questions, there's a section that I talk about the texture replacement method that we implemented And what it does is it takes the color information that VRAD uses to calculate bounce lighting and just sets that as the texture. So if you are missing textures, ideally, right, you no longer see purple and black. You now see just a smooth shade of the lighting color on the wall. And for maps like, what was it? Oh man, it's escaping me right now. I forget the name of the map. Was it Overgrowth?
Are you thinking of the map that we required TF2 textures from?
Yeah, that one.
Utopia?
Utopia, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Brain fart. Presque-vous, tip of the tongue. Anyway, Surf, Utopia, for example, looks pretty good with this replacement texture. The only caveat is it only works on brushes. So on models and stuff, you're still missing the model. But we're gonna have stuff like down the line where if you are missing models and stuff, we'll try to either pack the collision that the model was using into the map directly, or figure out a way to kind of just like have a replacement model. Because as long as you have the collision, you could technically have whatever model. You can even have a randomizer if we end up doing that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so best bet right now is to have the games that we require, which is CSS, TF, well, we don't require, sorry, that we mount. So CSS, TF2, and CSGO installed. That's just the best bet. You'll be able to play every map. But down the line, right, we're going to look into what we could do about CSS assets, what we could do about CSGO assets, specifically because it's also disappearing. And then TF2 is free to play. So we'll look into like, could we make a tool to like pull the things we actually need out of TF2 and like repack them so that you do need TF2 installed to do that, but then you would have the TF2 assets for that's like momentum optimized. So you don't have to have 40 gigabytes and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So we'll see how that's going to go. But that's what I mean about the blog post down the line is like, I want to talk about that because that also starts to lead into the asset atlas, which is this pipe dream project to kind of like pull out all of the assets ever used in maps and then make like basically a giant database of all of the textures and things like that are used. And then that way it's like you only download the things you actually need for it. And then like obviously we'll source things from like TF2 and not upload that like that'll be so there's a lot of work to be done for that, but it's an exciting idea because then maps become extremely tiny, like they would be like a couple megabytes at most, and then you have all of your assets in the cloud that get downloaded locally, and then you have like just like a manifest file, and then you can start to like have like Hammer hook up to this asset atlas to then you have like assets in Hammer that you can use and like sort by use, and so like a sand texture that every map uses you could use or something. So a lot of exciting plans, but yeah, that's down the line. We got a bunch of stuff to do before then. We got to get async cube map generation in place so that maps can be even smaller than they currently are right now, which we gotta, because cube maps, if you think about it, cube maps are only for reflections and can be generated by the client. And if we can make that a background process when you either load or during loading of the map, you only do it once, kind of like node graph out of date. So it adds a little bit of time to the load for the first time, but then you got it locally. We don't have to store that and distribute it. Saves us storage and bandwidth. A lot of cool optimizations that extend past just, like game feel and things like that. We can go into cloud and like how you play all of these maps. It's really exciting stuff, having this kind of level of freedom, but it's just a lot of work and there's a lot of stuff to do beforehand. More important things to do beforehand. So sorry for rambling a little bit, but yeah.
What causes maps to crash when we don't have that game? I haven't heard about that before.
I think there's just like vphysics or something is assuming that it's a valid object or pointer. It's usually a null pointer, and it's just assuming that because you loaded the map you have everything or something like that. We would have to find the Sentry crash reports that cause it, or just reproduce it locally. But yeah, ideally we get to a point where if there is any issue in a map, you just disconnect and not fucking like close the game. But yeah, ideally we get to a point where there's not really any issues in maps, and that it's like if there are any issues, it's like just things that you deal with and you don't get, you know, your game state just ejected. But we'll see. I know with the BSP refactoring that we're doing, there was a lot of crashes with loading BSPs because of just how we're like rearranging how the BSP loading code's working and refactoring it. So things like that, right? We're just slowly but surely nailing out and just making better, and the engine's we'll pay very dearly for all of this effort that we're doing. Reap the rewards. So yeah. All right. Any other input for Cress's question? All right. Thank you, Cress. We'll move on to the last question. That's right. Well, sort of last. We have probably a couple we could answer.
So, Trainermitch wants to know, how are ties going to be decided on the leaderboard, including exact ties that are the same past the 3 decimal points shown on the leaderboard?
We just ban you from the game if you get a tie. It's really not acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be better than everyone. If you're exactly the same as somebody else, yeah, cool. So I'll take this. This is actually a really interesting problem that we're gonna have as we have more and more people playing the game. Right now, it's not really an issue just because of just the variation in skill and like the limited amount of sample sizes. But as the game starts to get thousands of people playing tier 1 maps, you'll start to see ties. The way that we're going to do this is twofold. The first attempt is the 3 decimal places, is because right now all we care about are ticks in your replay. We count the number of ticks. The source engine runs on a tick basis, so like every 0.015 seconds the game updates state, right? That's 66 tick. 100 tick is 0.01 seconds, so every 0.01 seconds it would update state. So what happens is, right, on the leaderboards you have times that are very specifically multiples of that tick rate. So 0.015, 0.03, 0.045, right? You can only have that. So what we're going to do, right, is first of all, we're going to reintroduce our sub-tick timer, which, because the engine is updating on a fixed time step, right, 0.015, there is technically there's an amount of time between when you are in a trigger and when you leave it, right? Because that happens, like that moment of time that you leave isn't exactly on that tick boundary. I mean, the more tick rate that you have, the more, the more accurate this will be, but that, those are decimal places we don't need to go to. Like 120, was it 8 tick for maybe KZ is like the highest we're gonna go tick rate wise. So there's still time even at that tick rate that you like need to like be able to extrapolate. So what you can do is you can actually trace the tick that you left, and the game updates like, hey, you're out of the server. This amount of distance, right, between the trigger and you leaving it, right, can be traced, and then that distance with the velocity that you have can determine the amount of time it took for you to move from that edge of the server to where you are, and then that time could be added or subtracted depending on where we're tracing it. So for the start trigger, when you leave, your timer is going to start at that tick, so we have to add on that missing time that you spent, right? But then at the stop trigger, right, when you enter the stop trigger, there's time here where we accidentally, it's adding on time, so we can subtract that sub-tick precision and have a more precise timer. So ideally, right, unless you're doing the exact same thing, which don't, that will get you banned. Unless you're doing the exact same thing, you should have the exact same time. If you are doing the exact same thing, you will have the exact same time. But otherwise, if you have any variation in speed or, how you're approaching the end trigger or anything like that, right, it'll correct based on that. You might have the same amount of ticks that you did the replay, but because of your angle or your speed of exit or enter, right, of the end trigger, you might have a slightly faster time, right? And so that should help a lot of the ties that might be happening right now. However, that's not everything, right? There will be the weird circumstances, right? Because again, like as much as you can do to get rid of it, there could be very equivalent situations that you took a slightly different route, but you did get a same time. And what we're actually going to do is just go based off of the time that you got it. So, sorry, the date. So whoever gets that time first gets the higher rank. So basically, you have to beat somebody's time to get a better rank than them. If you get the same rank as them, or sorry, same time as them, you get the rank lower because they did it first, right? It's only fair. They did it first, so you got to beat them if you actually genuinely want to beat them. So there might be maps or bonuses or whatever where everybody's tied and like the fucking top 10 and like everything is just literally the same time and it's sorted by date, right? Because like the moment that you tie, you just go to the bottom of that list and just depend onto that. So that's how we're dealing with ties. We know we can't prevent it, but the subtick timer is going to help significantly with that, right? So just how you're performing in the run will be adding or subtracting time to your overall time. So you have your ticks, and then you have that little correction of time based off of, you know, velocities that you have when you're entering and exiting the start and end zone. Well, I guess exiting the start, entering the end, sorry. And then I think we can also do it for the stage triggers. We can do it for every zone, right? But it, like, ideally, right, it's not really going to affect your middle, like, stage zones because, like, that's not affecting your overall time. Your overall time is when the start and an end, right? But if you're doing an IL or, you know, an individual stage or something, we can do it for the stage trigger there or something. So we will have, yeah, a proper subtick timer. That should help. But yeah, so thank you for coming to my mini TED talk about the subtick timer. We have a really, really old blog post explaining how it works. But yeah, we're going to re-implement it and properly have like an up-to-date blog post on how it works, and that should help. That should help explain like kind of how people are not getting ties based off of just ticks.
I think it's also important to point out what kind of an improvement it is over like previous timer systems through plugins, where usually the time in between ticks on like surf timer plugins just comes down to luck basically if you get a better or worse time. And also
lagged starts, yeah.
Yeah, you can just lag and just teleport out of the start zone and it'll just save time for you there. And so like
unfortunately, you cannot do that in Moment, and we will detect
some
that.
some stages
on
KSF where like they don't even allow you to have a leaderboard. They just set like the owner of the server as the world record holder because it's just really short and everyone just lags the times. And yeah, so having a subtick timer system and having it be consistent it prevents that, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be, again, it's a very nice difference of like coming from, ping based timing. Because yeah, the server is authoritative, right? The server's telling you what time you got, but how's your connection to that server? So you could even have another tick added onto your time because it lagged for when you entered the end zone, and so it's like getting on that, so sucks. But yeah, and then we can be very precise, zero lag, and then we can validate everything, so it's cool. What was I gonna mention? Oh no, I lost it. If it'll come to me later, I'll talk about it. But thank you for that input. Any other input for Trainermitch's question? Cool. All right. Thank you for that question. We do have a couple more that were added into Q&A Live that I think we can quickly go over if we want to read those.
Let me pull them up.
Yeah.
The ones that start from today.
Yep, Leux71, however you pronounce that.
Yeah, Leux71.
Leux71 wants to know, will you guys add inspect keys?
Yeah, the inspect key, F, I think in CSGO. Yep, you'll be able to inspect your guns. We know a lot of people like
that's what
doing
they
that.
meant, like the inspect, like a key on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Heck yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to. Yeah, we really want to show off the really cool cosmetics. So, and
yeah,
we'll
be able to spin the sausage knife between your fingers.
Exactly. So, you know, there's gonna be some fun, like, you know, inspect animations and stuff that we'll do too. For the fun cosmetics that we're gonna have. I'm really excited. The cosmetic system I might work on after replays, like, immediately, because we'll see. Well, actually, we'll see. I definitely am going to work on more of the architectural things. That's my role. But, like, yeah, I'm really excited to see, like, the system that we can get in place. And then replays recording, like, your inspects and stuff. So you can just, like, troll people, twirl a fucking knife the entire time. Anyway, yeah. So hopefully that answers that. We'll go ahead and move on to the next question here.
Our next question by wasda. They want to know, will there ever be models and or trails like in some bhop servers, bunny hop servers, which are only obtained via time spent playing on the server and acquiring currency and using it in their store?
Yep. So that was asked at 2:30. I don't know if I was already talking about that at that point, but yes. So just reiterating the cosmetic side of things, there will be two kind of main systems for progression in Momentum. There's the cosmetic side that we're calling it cosmetic side because it's basically just everything you do in the game: playing a map, beating the map, beating your PBs, winning tournaments, doing challenges, things like that are going to grant cosmetic XP, which goes towards a cosmetic level, and that is just an overall signifier of how much you've played Momentum. That's all. It's not really like if you get to, you know, we'll have prestige and things like that. So you can have like things on your profile that like really show off that you've been playing a lot, right? Doing a lot. That XP that goes towards that cosmetic system will also translate over to a currency called units, which is our channel points currency here. That is only earned in game. You cannot pay for it. And then that currency goes towards the things on the cosmetic store. And yeah, you can just save up. The idea of it being a store is that you see something in the store that you want to work towards and you work towards it. I don't like loot boxes. I don't like random cosmetics. I don't like the monetization. We can't even really monetize that, but just being able to, you know, have the flexibility of choosing what you want out of it. There's no randomness to it. You just build up to it. You don't even have to buy anything too. You can just have the currency. We might look into using things like the units for maybe like putting out bounties. For like, hey, I know this map can be done in 30 seconds. I'm going to put a 10 billion unit pool or whatever. That'd be cool, right? Like something like that. So we could do things like that too. But yeah, the idea around this currency is that you just kind of get it for just playing the game. And then the other side of that is the rank system. That's going to be based on the times that you're getting on specific ranked maps. So it's just how well you do. If you have a high level of each game mode's rank points, then that just means you're good. It's how good you are at Momentum, right? So you have a lot of that. That means you're placing really well on all of the leaderboards. You're really good. Or doing really hard things that nobody else has, and you're placing higher automatically. But anyway, yeah, it goes either way. And the main reason that we have this distinction is that there are people that don't care about setting really good times, right? They don't really give a shit. So we're going to cater to that side with the cosmetic side, and you know, keeping track of completion stats and challenges and things like that. And then on the other side, right, easing them slowly into that rank side to really show off like how good you are at the game. Yeah, that's kind of like the distinction that we want to set there. And then it's like kind of the path that you flow. Everything you do, you'll get cosmetic side for it. You won't always set a PB. So you won't always be getting, and there you won't always be playing ranked things. We'll have unranked maps or unranked bonuses or whatever. So you'll be setting times, but and getting cosmetic stuff, but you won't be getting rank points because it's unranked, right? So yeah, that's kind of the distinction there. But yeah, great question. I love talking about it because yeah, it's going to be an exciting feature. I think it'll be a breath of fresh air for cosmetics, at least in this system of like you're used to opening crates, right? For God knows what. Any other input for wasda's question here? Sounds good. Thank you, wasda, for that question. We'll move on to the next.
Our next question by CubiCub. They want to know, does Momentum Man care who you are? And they also want to know, can you be banned by Momentum Man for your off-platform behavior? Yeah, you better watch your mouth. Better watch who you're talking about. He's always watching.
I think
Momentum
that,
Man. Yeah.
I think that this is something that we should probably discuss a lot more internally before saying anything about it, because I don't think that we actually have a set stance on this.
So far, we've been treating it as like a clean slate, right? People that are banned on other servers are just kind of on, like, we know who they are already. We let them sort of chat a bit, and sadly, a lot of them haven't changed. They end up getting banned anyway, but, you know.
Yeah.
So far, it's been kind of open.
I do want
I have my
to...
own kind of feelings about it, but I think that we would, I'd rather, like, discuss this before we say anything for sure. Like, this is what our policy is going to be.
Yeah, I'll echo on that there isn't anything official yet, but my stance on it, we will have a report system. Absolutely. We're not gonna let just things slide or like shrug or whatever. We definitely want people that are being not very friendly in the community to be able to be banned appropriately for that. So what right now currently what what I'm thinking, right, of implementing really is just like, there's a difference between the runs that you're doing, right? Runs that you're submitting, leaderboard submissions, and community related features like chatting and your name on the platform. So, right, like the main thing that we want to separate is like, if you're being an ass in a lobby, but not cheating, we want to be able to ban you or, punish you for that, right? But not necessarily ban you from submitting times. But now, like, and that includes like, if you change your name to, please don't change your name to gamer words, but if you change your name to gamer words, we can override your name and ban you from being able to change it, but then still allow you to submit times. I mean, obviously it's going to go on like a record for your account. Like it's not going to get shrugged off, but we can be more finite on cracking down on what is happening, and to where it's like, we're not going to completely ban you from Momentum Mod submissions or anything like that just because you're being an ass. And like, it's not in the sense that we want to foster a community that has assholes. It's that it's like the punishment for that can be more tailored to, we're going to prevent you from chatting, or we're going to warn everybody in your lobby that you join that you're not really pleasant, and mute you by default, and then people have to unmute you by default. Like, I think CSGO
not be able to kick them because Steam lobbies don't have a kick function.
I mean, there's ways around that to where you can, because like the kick functionality could be like, oh, like I don't want to talk to this client anymore. Like you can still like kick people to where it's like they're gone now. It's like you like, like you hide them or report them or whatever, you like, they're gone, and like they'll still be sending data, but you just reject it, and then also like you aren't sending them any data anymore. So it's like you freeze on their screen, or like not even like spawn, right? And that's at the level that's like, we could still do like, like obviously it's client per client trust. So it's like, but so it's not an official stance or anything, but that's kind of the mindset we're going into with like, we don't want to foster a terrible community. And there are, the recircling back on the fresh slate comment, it is a fresh slate, which means that, I mean, if you were an asshole before in a previous community, you can come over here, but if you're going to do that, you're not going to last very long, right? Like our Discord's going to have, we have our rules in Discord. So that controls whether or not you're in Discord. And then we'll have community guidelines that extend across every aspect of Momentum that, so game, website, Discord, YouTube comments. No, I'm just kidding. Well, YouTube comments are terrible anyway. Trash. I'm just kidding. I love you guys on YouTube. Hi. But the entire like purpose there is to have just kind of rules in place to like just realistically, don't be an asshole. Just like be a normal human being. Like that's really all we want. You can have heated arguments. There will be a lot of opinionated people, right, that have opinions on how the game's should go and stuff. And we just want to make sure that the discussion around that is constructive. That's, I guess, the current way that you could really be like banned is like joining and just being a shitter about game modes and the dev team and stuff. So just we're humans, right? Just be a normal human and show empathy, right, towards others. I think, you know, empathy goes a long way. Just trying to understand.
Yeah, if you're not really combative, if you're not really edgy, you're gonna fit in just fine. But if you start to do things like that, if you start to be the cool guy trying to impress people by being an asshole, well, you're gonna get what's coming to you. It kind of goes without saying. So be nice, and that's what you're gonna. You get what you give.
Yeah. Another thing to note on bans is that, right, we're a free-to-play game. So there's some things that we're gonna have to do to, like, you know, you might have to get a certain level to be able to join a roaming lobby or something. Like, we'll have like guardrails in place of, like, yeah, we're not literally like open Wild West, like, you know, you can just wreak havoc from a new account. We'll have things in place for time submission, right, like run submission and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like steps to take to like be able to do things, and that should help with it. But also just a matter of like, yeah, just having a lot of tooling around, just being able to be like, this person's terrible and I'm going to report them and block them. Being able to just do that at the very least, right? That, you know, and then us being able to see that, act on it appropriately, and then, you know, that extends over to if they were just a shitter in community, doing community related bans, as opposed to time. But then, yeah, if you cheat on the leaderboards, that's really the main way that you'd be deleted or banned that way. So just, yeah. But yeah. So not really an official stance, because again, I would like to discuss it. I'm not dismissing what Lumia was talking about, because it's important to get like the right rules in place and right procedures in place for everything. But that is loosely what I was thinking that we might be doing. It might be a variation of that. So don't hold any of this as like the implementation or what is going to happen, because it could change. So, and I'm open to changing that too. If we want to go full nuclear, if you're an ass in community and we just want to prevent you from doing anything in the game, that could be the way we go. I mean, there are different severities, right? Like, if you're just genuinely a very unpleasant person and just don't want to, like, trying to troll and just like in the worst way or something, right? Like, yeah, we might just straight up like fully ban or something. So it's very situational. We'll talk more about it as a team and then come out with the guidelines. Absolutely communicating to you guys like what we're expecting out of the community, because we want to have a positive environment. It's, you know, positive competitive environment for people. So, you know, getting heated and trash talk being a temporary mute or something like that, versus just being a despicable person and just being very awful. So
the best way I could summarize it is think of all of the terms of use things we've had to agree to. Look at how often those things change or how often they get updated, but look at how extensive they are. We have to actually come up with something like that. So
we'll have terms of use.
And that's also why Goknak is mentioning he can't really give you a straight answer just yet, because we still have yet to get to that point.
Yeah, we also have to get a privacy policy, just like clearing up what info we collect, right? We're not trying to fucking dox people or anything like that. We need information related to the game, but like what information in particular, we gotta line it up and like actually legalize it, legalese style privacy policy, just so people don't try to sue the team or something. We'll see. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to just kind of go through all this, get all this figured out and formalized.
We're not going to get sued. It's undetectable. The Bitcoin miner, we have it all figured out. Don't worry about it, man. It's already in the works.
I've made dollars off of it so far. It's great.
Don't forget, I'm a lawyer here. So.
Exactly. So yeah. So we will absolutely take the proper precautions around getting community guidelines, terms of service, privacy policy. Terms of service is really just like, I think that's probably gonna be the shortest thing. It's just like, yeah, you're like uploading runs and like you can use use of the API and then being able to like delete your account and stuff like that. So we'll outline all of that. We'll have it in place before 1.0, at least before we do the wipe and where it starts to matter. But right now it's just kind of loosey-goosey. I mean, we're not doing anything nefarious. We're just working our way up to 1.0. So it's just all in the roadmap. But okay. Any other input? I think somebody was trying to say something too. Like XP or sorry, I might have just was hearing things.
That was me, probably.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for the sub, Shazangle. Cool. Okay. And then does Momentum Man care who you are? More than you think. He's a very compassionate person. All right, and then I guess the last question, I think I already answered this. Will there be any microtransactions? No. We cannot make money directly from the game. I already answered that. So with that, I think that's it then for all the questions. Yippee. Yeah. If you like what we're doing though and want to send money our way, we do have a donation page. I think !donate. I actually don't know if we have a command for it. We do! !donate. Let's go. Yeah, so you can feel free to contribute to us. You can sub to us via Prime sub on here if you have it. It's pretty good. It just uses Amazon money to pay us. And then also donating via that. It all goes to the same pool, which just goes towards the developers' needs. So, yeah. Cool. All right. Cool. That's it for this. So I guess we can go and play the game now. Right? Are we at the 3? Oh, we're already at the 3 hour. This is a long question. We'll do a little bit of gameplay. Mainly because the game's also busted right now. That's the frame rate issue. But let me get the game.
Are you gonna set up a different layout?
I was gonna go over to the gameplay plus webcam section here. One sec. Let me do that, and then the game. There it is. And then we do not have Tom. We do have you. So just gotta move you up here, and we'll improve this layout.
Just put you there, so I could take care of my cat. He's obviously
oh, gotcha. I can turn off your webcam if you need. Well, they like the cat cam, but yeah, I'll do that for now. Let me know when you.
I know they do. He came in here, so I know
he's got some needs. That's all good. All right, cool. So I'll do standard spiel and play a little bit of a mode of.
Should we show off the new defrag changes?
Yeah, we can show off. I just suck at defrag. That's the main.
You can't really suck at slick. Yeah, slick is very beginner friendly.
Okay, we'll do that.
I recommend cool speed 6 to start off with.
Okay, let me get these maps over. Let me do that. We'll get those in.
You only really need the most recent ones.
I also need to change multicore. Just for now, gotta disable it. All right, let me get the let me get these maps over
here. Slick has been a long time coming. It's probably still not really fully done, but it's better than nothing, which is what we had before.
Yeah, there's a lot of great work, being put into Defrag by both Ellis, Peenskrieger, basically working on just a ton of HUD related stuff for CGAS and just like different indicators that could eventually extend over to the other modes as they see fit. I'm currently downloading the maps manually just because we haven't added them to the map selector, but I will go through the features of the game just so that people can see what we're doing. So sorry, which one? Cool Speed 6?
Yeah, Speed 6, yeah.
Cool Speed 6. All right. Get that BSP in.
But yeah, Ellis or Peenskrieger has been working on a lot of HUD stuff. The maps you're about to see have been automatically ported from Quake 3 using a tool that Panzer created. That's the same Panzer that made Surf Utopia.
Yeah, I've also got a lobby up, by the way, if people want to hop in.
Yeah, and Mac has also been working on the BSP convert tool. So
nice. Yeah. So that is just one of the open source tooling that we have on our Git repository or GitHub repository or organization, I guess. And it is completely open source, meant to be just like if there's any bugs or any features that get tracked in the issues, you can absolutely jump in, help out, open a PR, get it merged in, get that key. You get, to test out the maps that we're going to be adding here in a bit. And yeah, I'm really happy with that progress, because it's amazing to see just like the game in Quake 3, and then just like a side by side with like, oh, here's Momentum Mod, like literally exactly the same. Like it's crazy. It doesn't need to be remade or anything. It just straight up ports it over, and it's awesome. So let me just do the standard spiel. I do it every time, but just to teach the new people that might be in chat or found their way here. So Momentum Mod, this is the main menu. This is Panorama, this is from Source 2. Very lovely UI. We have a WebM background here. We have a model panel for the for this main, thing. We can probably update this to be your player model and customizations and stuff in the future. But right now it's just a placeholder game icon, logo. We have a lot of stuff to add to the main menu in the sense of just community related. So we do have our, official news. Here's our, if you're playing the game, you boot it up and see our Q&A stream, you can pop in. We also have the recent releases. You can check out that. It doesn't capture it, but it does pop open the Steam events with all of the changelogs and stuff like that. Very, very lovely, just like centralized point for like news and updates and stuff that we could do inside of the game. But below that, and what we're going to do down the line, is we will add a new box for the most recent maps added to the game. And it'll have some rudimentary filters, so if you don't care about specific modes, you can filter that out. But this will be kind of the way to see new content being added to the game. There will also be, you can see up here, notifications. So you'll be able to see when people beat your time, or like a friend, like a rival beats your time, or when a new map from a mapper that you follow has been uploaded. Things like that we can really make the game more of a social platform in a sense than just like, oh yay, the server just added this mapper's new map, and so that's the only thing that's being played, right? So like we can have events, tournaments, and things like that announced on the main menu, and realistically that's what we're aiming to have this main menu represent. It's just like kind of the main content of the game, newer content, and just what's happening right in the game, the version there, what maps have been added, maybe events and stuff. So when you want to go ahead and play the game, right, we have our map selector. You can choose any maps you want from any modes you want. You get to filter based off of various things, whether or not you have completed it, haven't completed it, or both, which is default, whether or not it's in your favorites, whether or not it's downloaded. You can filter by a specific mode. So now I only see SJ maps. I can also search for more. I think we do have a little bit more here. Yeah. So, you can have like game mode specific things. You can filter by specific tiers. So I only care about sticky jump tier 4 stuff, for example. It's very flexible in the sense of like, we want to show you things based off of your own experience or what you're comfortable playing and what you really want to play. So like, okay, I don't really care about RJ or AHOP. Fuck those modes. I only care about that. Like you can filter all of this stuff out. And then obviously we do have searching maps by their name as well. So you can actually do that. So it's very lovely. There's going to be thousands of maps. There will be thousands of maps. So we need to have, enough filtering in place so that you're able to see the things that you want to, right? Filter out all the things I already played, filter out all of the like tier 5 and up maps, right? Show me 1 through 5 for the tiers. Perfect, right? Like that, you can do that. We can eventually look into like making things save like filters, so you can have like, oh, like I'm in the mood for RJ, so apply the RJ filters, and like, okay, so now I just only load RJ in my tier and stuff like that, and it's very quickly able to jump between all the different filters. You can filter by like tiers and stuff, so if you want to work your way up or down or anything like that, eventually down the line, we don't have it right now, there actually used to be text here. I guess it disappeared in some merge. We will eventually have the concept of playlists. So being able to queue up a bunch of maps that you would like to play in a row. And the idea behind that, eventually leading to things like gauntlets, right? So all of the tier 6 bhop maps in a row or something, like things like that, or like building up to a tier, So like there's playlists kind of being like this general feature that you can really just cater a bunch of or like collect a bunch of maps to play in a row. And when you beat one map, the end UI will have like, all right, go to next map in playlist. And then, we can start to look into things like summing all of the times that you get. And that's actually the gauntlet runs, right? Like all of the times that you get on each of the individual maps and showing that in like its own UI somewhere, probably in the pause menu, maybe one of these tabs or something. So there's still a lot of UX to figure out and a lot of functionality to add, but yeah, it's coming along. It's very lovely, very, very lovely. Yeah, like you'll be able to look at like all of the various photos of the map, so you can get a good idea of like what the map looks like before you actually play it, just from, there's the thumbnail, but there's other images that can be uploaded. You can get a quick view of stats and things like that. So super, super useful. Just being able, again, to play whatever you want, whenever you want, and being able to filter for it. The next tab up here would be the cosmetic system. We don't have that yet, but that's what we were talking about earlier in the stream, just with custom skins, custom launchers and stuff like that, being able to go to the store and things like that for all of it. And then the next section here, very important for a game like ours, is the learn section. So being able to learn every single bit about every single mode in a piece-by-piece style, right? So sorted kind of by difficulty of how hard that thing is to learn. Like we want to be able to educate people on the nitty-gritty of each of the modes in a reproducible way, right? So trackable, like once you do all of these things, they'll track like completion, so you can practice the things you aren't used to yet. And yeah, like we'll have all of these like difficulties. We'll have a video maybe showing how it works. We can have a description showing like what you're going to do. And down here, it doesn't exist yet. We could have a section that's like, here's maps that do this. Like here's maps that you could go and try that utilize this, because we can have tags on maps with the mechanics that they use. So for example, like rocket jump, if there's a ton of like air pogo and sticky jump too, like or like air double or something, like, hey, this map requires you to do an air double, like go try it, like go play it. So stuff like that, just kind of connecting the learning experience to playing, right? And then connecting the playing experience to grinding for better times. Like that's kind of just like the pipeline, right? Keep saying pipeline, but it's true. Like we really want to be able to from zero, right? Like never played a platformer before, all the way to potentially world record holder. We need to be able to get you there or help you get there. So yeah, cool. And then yeah, we obviously have settings. Some stuff isn't translated. We gotta change that. It's hard-coded strings that we gotta get rid of. But yeah, so there's with settings, right? We have the ability to customize everything, and you can actually search for everything. And I mean, I love our settings panel. It's just so nice. Like you hover over something and you can see like what it's, what it does, right? So like mouse filtering, do you average the mouse movement, reverse mouse, and then here, yeah, there we go, the raw input, right? So, we have it on and it's tick aligned, which is, wait, what's happening with the text here? Uh-oh, it's getting cut off. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it should be using this entire container. It's a little weird, but whatever. There's bugs. We'll fix them. Panorama's open source, so if you know why this is happening and want to open a PR to fix it, feel free. But yeah, so it's just really nice to be able to kind of customize the game how you want. This also leads me over to here. So you have your profile. When you click on it, you'll have a profile tab. I'll get to the tabs in a sec. Your notifications, I talked a little bit about for things that you follow or want to get notified on. Quitting the game, top right, where the X for the window is usually. And then yeah, we have the ability to customize light and dark mode for the background. If you want to get flashbanged at night, you can turn that on, hit that button. We also have our our media stuff down here. We might just remove this Twitter thing, but yeah, we'll have like, yeah, you can join the Discord. Actually, if you click the Discord, it uses your local Discord to like, it's really cool. So this is a really easy way to get people into the Discord, but also to report bugs on our GitHub and things like that. We'll probably change these icons around, like GitHub, probably move to the bottom here with Twitter, and then, yeah. Anyway, really exciting stuff, but it gets even better. So I was talking about multiplayer earlier in the game. Multiplayer is a layer on top of everything in the game. So you don't have to join a multiplayer server in order to play. From the map selector, you can just choose a map and play it, right? You do not have to join. There's no server, nothing there. But if you are so inclined, you can browse public lobbies. You can also host a lobby that's public, friends only, invite up to 250 players. We haven't tested that, but try it out. Invite 250 friends if you have them. But what we can do here is I can join Max Lobby that they set up here. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play on this map with them. But in the meantime, I can also, you know, like chat to them from the menu if you want to. We'll have voice chat as well. It'll be more of an opt-in thing depending on settings. So like if you're in a friends lobby or join a friends only lobby, it could be like automatically on or something. We'll have a bunch of different customization around all of that. But it's really nice because yeah, it's free. I didn't do anything. I literally just clicked one button to join this lobby. Like I didn't have to type a password or IP or anything like that. All hosted by Steam. Very, very lovely. So we'll go ahead and join them on their map that they're in. I downloaded this. This is Defrag. But before I do, just pointing out, yeah, so we'll have a personal profile. It used to have stuff here. It also got messed up in the merge. And then we will have your, you know, your achievements, your rankings, things like that on that page. And then we also have our credits and, you know, changelog, which we're going to get rid of that tab. We use Steam events for our changelog now. So just look at the Steam events for if you want to know what updated. But yeah, it's pretty great. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get into a map here. So we'll play some Defrag. What was it? Nude? No, it wasn't nude. It was cool.
Cool Speed 6.
So we'll get into Cool Speed 6. So this map that I'm loading into originally came from Quake 3 and ran through Panzer's tool called BSP Convert. And it takes the Quake 3 BSP, converts it into a format that we can use inside of our game. Oh my god, what? Can you? Oh, you can jump. Okay. But you
don't really want to.
Yeah, you don't want to. So we've added, or sorry,
like it's bhop, but a lot faster.
Oh, okay, okay.
Use like AD.
Oh my god. Okay, all right, I gotcha. Also, that's interesting. It has checkpoint 6 out of 6. Are there zones on the map, but they're messed up?
Yeah, they're out of order.
Gotcha. Also, I keep doing the default like defrag, like yeah, okay. So we Lumia has added slick to defrag. So all these maps. What the fuck? Oh god. Okay, hold on. I gotta build up speed again. How tight can you turn? Oh my god.
It's not the
oh
highest.
Wait, I went the wrong way. Gotcha. Okay. This is actually really fun. Slick maps are.
It is really fun. It's super beginner friendly. You don't need to know anything about defrag to be able to do it. You just
Seagaz is kind of
skate around.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm having way more fun than doing normal defrag because I suck at normal defrag. I plan to get better at it. Yeah, that's why I'm making the game. I'm making the game to be able to just play all these maps. But for example, so I was talking about map tags, right? So this map, because it's specific, oh, that's the end. Nice. Because this map specifically uses a lot of slick related movement, we would teach slick inside of the defrag like learn section to like, oh yeah, you want to just strafe, you don't really want to be airborne for this, you really want to take advantage of being on the ground. Oh god, I'm getting knifed up. Oh wait, it's the, oh wait, did we fix, oh we didn't, it's permanently offset. Okay.
Absolutely not.
No. Okay, that's fine.
I'm working on it.
The orbs. Get the orbs out. Oh, I don't have, do I not have 8 bound?
I think the orbs are the
okay.
The BFG.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, why is this showing up? Okay, whatever. So yeah, so this map could have the slick tag, and then when you learn slick, we could recommend you play this map, and then you could apply what you learned in the learn section about slick to playing this map. So yeah, it's defrag is a Quake. It comes from Quake, so it's like the grandfather mode. It's basically like, that's how I view it. And oh my god, you go so fast. Yeah, it's a great time. This is just slick movement. So it's defrag settings, but it's you're not really doing the normal defrag move set of like kind of strafing diagonally.
Yeah, this is more of a gimmick map than actual defrag. So you know, not all of your maps will play anywhere close to this, but
yeah, Mac. You also ported a bunch of other maps that are like partially slick as well.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't have to be the whole map. It can also just be like portions of it where you can almost use them almost like boost pads, except you have to actually strafe. They don't just give it to you for free. Stuff like that.
Wait, is everyone just using default shapes, or did we break? We might have broke how people are represented in the lobbies, because everyone's an egg for me. I don't know.
Where is it in online? I think my settings have just reset. Let me change.
Oh, that's true. That might have happened as well. But yeah, I guess I can talk about that. Right now, our cosmetic system is this section in settings. You can change.
I see someone who's a square.
Yeah. They reset, so that's what happened. We had a bug where it was server settings weren't writing out or something. So you can change that. You can change, I want to be a little diamond here, and then you can. Somebody was asking about trails. You can have a trail if you'd like, and then change its length. And then I don't know actually if dragging this spams the shit out of the lobby. That's something we should look out for. But let me change this, get a nice like turquoise. There we go. So now I have a trail and I'm just a gold or an orange diamond. So yeah, it's that's kind of the extent that we have right now. We do want to have levels of customization that include color, but a lot of the cosmetics and stuff are going to usually be like original models and stuff, and then there's going to be like tweaks that you can do to the models. So that's really the priority there, is like we want to have like, again, like you're not grinding for just paint on a gun. We want you to grind for like a unique thing that you can like wield and like show off and customize further if you'd like. So a lot of the cosmetics, right? Oh my god, the aerosol. A lot of the cosmetics you just kind of right now, like we don't really have. We're getting our default weapon set in, and then we have we're going to have like other dev assets that we've created as initial cosmetics, and those will be kind of probably depending on how like rare or silly they are, they might be more expensive, but damn, this is this is just addicting.
You did mention that these shapes are not our final player model.
No, these are not our final player model. We have a beautiful player model that's coming into the game eventually. We do have to get, I think, some rigging set up, and there was some exploration into that by Vortex. But yeah, our player model made by False inside of our Team Showcase channel, if you want to check that out. It'll be very nice to have kind of just a base model that can animate, right? It'd be very fun to look at while you're playing the game. Yeah. Goku and Vegeta models. I don't know if that's a good idea for us to add, but we will never take away local customization for you. So you can always add it locally if you want your player model to be that. It just won't be in a lobby unless other people also do that mod. Yeah, so I think that's all. We're kind of cut on time here. Was there anything else I should show? There's probably some.
Mac did port some other maps that look a little nice.
Yeah.
Show off what Slick's usually used for.
Yeah, Slick is usually just, it's not the whole map, but it's very fun when it's the whole map. Oh shit.
In terms of new features, I don't know.
It's the ground boost indicator, but
oh yeah,
that's not how easy that would be to show off.
We get to teach Gothic how to do ground boosts.
Oh yeah.
It's not actually that hard. You just go into a map that has a rocket and then like shoot down at a wall.
Oh, okay.
Like, jump. Like if you're standing next to a wall, look up, jump, and then shoot yourself right back down, and the ground boost indicator will show up.
Gotcha.
And the fact that you know what Slick is now would actually make it a bit easier, because that's basically what ground boosts do. When you shoot yourself right before you hit the ground, you get 1/4 of a second of this movement, this Slick movement.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then Ellis added an indicator to let you know when you have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let you know, and it also actually shows like if you go past that 1/4 of a second, it'll go into the red and show you if you like overshot it.
The line's too good. Yeah. Wait, is the map backwards? I'm hitting checkpoint 3 now.
The checkpoints are just out of order. And
Gotcha.
It's a mess, yeah.
That's fine.
Because the checkpoints aren't ordered in Defrag, so the auto porter just also has them out of order.
Yeah. We could look into doing sprays and stuff too. Not custom ones, dear God, no. But like having like, yeah, sprays that are cool and then also don't disappear after 50 uses, because that's a slap in the face. They disappear after 3 uses. But no, I
think the most important thing is we're adding flossing to the game. You can play a model
taunts.
can floss.
Yeah, taunts for when you get to the end, and absolutely.
Good dental hygiene is extremely important for the momentum team.
Yeah, it is. It actually is important. You don't want to fuck up your teeth. Make sure you're flossing and brushing. Oh, what the hell? So wait, like, why am I able to? What is this then? So you could like slope down into the. Oh my god, that's crazy. But yeah, sorry for the lack of gameplay this time, but we had a lot of great questions, and that's usually how it goes. The 3-hour mark's a good kind of mark to end on, especially when it's, yeah.
After a team meeting, that can also be pretty exciting.
Two meetings, the Strata one, and then the team, and then Q&A. So I'm a little talked out now, but that's why.
What's happening later today, Goknak, potentially?
The zoning meeting, yeah, but that's I can refresh by then. When it's back to back to back, it is
chunky for us.
It's chunky, but then that opens up Sunday. My Sundays are completely free, and usually my rest days. So, but that's the life of a project dev. So.
Next Q&A,
project lead.
Maybe we could do, I don't know, find some map or make a map that has a bunch of like weapons and ammo in it, because that's been in the game for a while. But I'd like to show it off a bit more, especially now that it's actually getting documented.
Models currently in the game, right?
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, we have a month to make models for everything.
Okay.
Get to work.
Or just like,
right, False. Where are you at?
Making the weapon models just like the worldview models of the weapon, but floating in the air.
That's actually really easy to do. We just need to add like a thing to the weapon scripts for that. It's already set up for that. But yeah, because I mean the ammo system, I think I talked about it a while ago, and it's been in the game for a bit, but it hasn't been documented. Right? So you can't really use it yet, but just recently I finished writing the documentation pages for it. So it'll be something that you can use in any game mode with weapons, basically. So rocket jump, sticky jump, Kong, Defrag will all be able to use it. And I'm looking forward to what people do with it, because it's a more flexible system, I think, than what you have in like TF2.
Yeah.
So that'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, and that solves the maps that require limited rockets and things like that. Again, we aren't trying to make a military sim, right? Like, or anything like that. Military shooter, goofy, whimsical military shooter. We're trying to, create a speedrunning game that focuses on the elements as you need it. So, right, like ammo and stuff like that only shows up when you actually get it, limited or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm excited too to get those maps working, because now that it's in, we can start to port those rocket jump maps that use, replenish or refill or resupply. That's it. All right, I've been mindlessly just ice skating basically.
It's so easy to get into it, isn't it?
It's so much fun. It's just, it's very fun. Yeah. And it's working it's really smooth, not getting ramp bugged on any like surface or anything like that. Just really good.
I'm surprised it hasn't broken, honestly.
Has it broken in testing, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it works consistently on this map. Like, it works.
Yeah.
Because I had to do some nasty things to collision detection to get. Actually, it wasn't that bad, but touching anything collision detection related is always a bit scary,
Yeah.
Like I said, it's still not really fully complete. Like, this map doesn't have any brush entities in it. So if you have brush entities that are supposed to be slick, like, those don't work.
So all these floors are models?
No, they're world geometry. I mean, like funk brush or funk door or something like that. I think it's because they're using like v-physics collision instead of BSP collision.
Yeah.
I didn't ever test like funk brush with BSP collision. That might actually work.
I think
it probably is broken on displacements and models too. I didn't even test it because like it doesn't work. But
God, the amount of
all the other maps that Mac ported, I tried them out, and the slick sections in them all worked. So
nice. one more step closer to total total defrag feature completeness.
Yeah.
It's also really funny at the moment because all the defrag maps, slick surfaces tend to be reflective texture. And because we don't have cube maps in them, it's just vertigo. You can just see the vertigo skybox on all of these defrag maps.
That's hilarious.
Got the early 2000s textures and then just skyscrapers and all the reflections. It's great.
It kind of looks cool on the cool Q map.
Oh,
that one looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was intentional at first, then I looked at it in Quake 3 as like, oh, okay. It looks cooler in Momentum Mod.
Oh, I was trying to bounce off of that. Damn. But yeah, I'm just so pumped because it's like once this is like fully in place and hooked up to the leaderboards and like people grinding out just different slide route or slick routes and stuff. I keep calling it slide because we have the slide trigger, which was effectively this, but like probably more jankily implemented.
Air acceleration rather than ground acceleration.
Oh, this is all ground accel?
Yeah, that's what makes it so fast.
Oh my god.
It's like Air Accel 10, but instead of only being able to accelerate to 30 units per second, you can accelerate to 320.
Oh my god.
And,
that's nuts.
This mechanic, I mean, like, technically could be another game mode. I know that Rody is in absolute anguish right now that we're adding so many defrag updates. But like, I mean, this could be a thing in any other game mode, like if those game modes want it, really. I don't know if it'd be good design for those or not, but like there's nothing stopping us from adding these if it's something that like mappers want.
Yeah, I mean, like it could consolidate, I think, because there was like, oh wait, we had the giant discussion about this, about technically making it so that the entity toggles if it uses air accel versus ground accel, but or like the behavior rather. But yeah, I mean it's probably best to just keep things a little more specific, even if it means it's kind of duplicate functionality. We just have to make sure it's just well documented, like what each entity does in our docs. So we have publicly available documentation, and even like if you go to the settings here, you can see view docs page, right? It'll open up our documentation for this like specific setting. So if we ever do anything that's like, you know, very specific, we could, you know, have documentation on it. And then just having that integrated directly into the UI so that people can understand and learn. Yeah. But yeah, okay. Well, I am really thirsty. I ran out of water. I need to go get water. But I'm pretty good here to end the stream. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about or any other last minute questions that people have? Oh, hey Trez, how's it going? Yeah, I don't have the stream alerts app. Oh, okay, we're good. Saved. Fuck. Ruined. All right, any last minute questions before we go and raid? Get this going.
Per map up / downloadable save pauses. So I think we're having a system where you can request save pauses of other people.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, if you've got a friend who's got some save pauses set up already, and you're like, oh, they look cool, and then you can just right click them and download all of their save pauses, and then also you can make saves of demos. So if you're watching a demo and hit your save bind, it will put you in that position with the speed that the player had in the demo.
Yeah.
So you can just make them wherever.
Yeah. So there's the save log, or it's gonna be renamed to save state down the line. But yeah, the save state system's just gonna really be like, we really want you to be able to get like save states that people use to practice and stuff like that. We're keeping the file format text-based, so you know you can just upload them literally to Pastebin, and like people can just snag them and put them in their file and stuff like that. But we do want to have like a built-in, like in the lobby, right-click somebody, be like, hey, can I request your save logs? We got a lot of peer-to-peer stuff like that. I think the other one was replay downloads, being able to download people's local replays via their profile, and then also maybe map downloading. So if you're on, you know, a map but I mean, again, we're also going to have an official map testing system that you just upload the updated version there. So yeah, there's a lot of pieces, but yeah, we will have save block sharing. And it's all per map. All of the save states and stuff are per map by default. But yeah, all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and raid Masog surfing. Yeah, all right, cool. We'll raid nobody's streaming Momentum, right? Just us. Unfortunate. That's fine. We'll raid Masog. So yeah, this channel's intended for mature, so if you're under the age of 18, don't raid. You guys can't. You guys aren't legally allowed to raid. Anyway, the raid message: please play, and then your favorite game mode. Could be any game mode. So for us, for me, it's gonna be this, and then a smile, and your favorite smiley emoji, or a cute emoji. And it's just whatever emoji you want. But thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully these answers help, and you know, seeing the game is, you know, hopefully you enjoy that. I enjoy it a lot, so we'll be here, you know, next month as well, hopefully with some more Defrag slick maps and weapon maps and stuff. So we'll see those, and you know, some more questions that you can ask over in our Discord. Feel free to join if you haven't. But yeah, take care, enjoy Masog streaming, and yeah, catch you all in the next one. So
bye everyone.
Bye. God fucking damn it.
Oh, Joey.